Alrighty, welcome back everybody to our latest live stream. Hope everybody's having a good evening so far. This may surprise you, but we are actually going live tonight. Did not expect to go live at all over the next couple of weeks, but we actually have a small little tornado warning outbreak that is happening right now across both Tennessee and Kentucky. We've had several tornado warnings here over the last hour or so, and there's been a lot of stuff happening. We have multiple storms that are concerning right now. We may see a tornado drop here over the next several minutes. So let's go ahead and begin with what's happening out there. Just a little zoomed out look right now of what we got. Most of these tornado warnings that we have and severe thunderstorm warnings are in both eastern Kentucky and as well as back through parts of eastern Tennessee. We've already had several tornado warnings. At our peak, we had 5 tornado warnings. We're currently sitting at 3, and the reason why we've gone live is because a few of these storms are ramping up again, and we may see a tornado drop here over the next little bit. So right now, this is back over in southeastern Kentucky, just to the west of Cumberland and south of Highway 80. We have a little supercell that is currently heading in the direction of Cumberland. You'll notice we actually have a hook echo on this storm and an inflow near Lewis Creek. This will be eventually going towards the Big Laurel area. Rotation on this storm is relatively weak when it comes to the wind speeds, but we may see an isolated tornado out of this storm as it does continue to progress to the east. We also have a storm just to the north of this that also has a little bit of broad rotation. So there are actually several storms right now that are rotating in southeastern Kentucky. In addition to that, the storm that's back over near Walker in the Barbervilles area, I'm not sure if I'm saying the name right, but if you're back over in this area, this storm, in my opinion, is much more concerning as the velocities are much stronger. Even though it's aloft, we actually could see the potential here for a bit more of a stronger tornado if this is able to actually develop. You'll notice on radar right now that we do have a pretty large hook echo on this storm and a strong inflow notch heading right towards Walker. It'll eventually go towards Field, Beverly, and then long term it's going towards Harlan and the Averts area. So if you're anywhere in this pink polygon, make sure that you are seeking shelter immediately, away from windows, lowest floor possible, and get into an interior room of your home or building, as a tornado could drop with that storm at any time. Back over south of this storm, we also have another area of broad rotation that is currently moving to the east, southeast. So keep in mind, if you're back over near the Barbersville area, there is another storm just to the south of there that is also rotating. Also, we do now have a brand new tornado warning that has just been issued. This is going to be back over in Tennessee. We already had a tornado warning ongoing near Grimsley in the Clark Range area, which bottom right of your screen, that is in Clark Range. That's one of the radar Omega cyclone ports in that area. Again, this is currently a new tornado warning for the Sunbright area. So it's going to be an extension on the tornado warning that we currently have ongoing. So if you are in this pink polygon, make sure that you are getting to your safe place immediately, away from windows, lowest floor possible, and get into an interior room of your home or building, as a tornado is going to be possible with this storm here as it continues to track to the east. And let me see, I'm not sure, I guess our warning system isn't working? Maybe it isn't. Okay, we'll have to fix that. All right, let me go back. So we're gonna go to 3 cameras. We do have multiple different cameras right now across Tennessee. We got one in Bartlett, we got one in Rickman, which actually just saw 80-mile-per-hour wind gusts, and then also back over in Clark Range, which is again this storm right here. This is what the storm looks like. Rotation is right now over the north side of Clark Range. We actually might go full cam to that one. That's gonna be number 3. Let me put up 3 here. So let's go full cam to 3. It is not a winter storm coverage. It is a tornado warning. All right, there we go. So this is live in Clark Range, which again, Clark Range right now is included in this tornado warning. They are about a mile, this camera's about a mile south of this rotation. So we'll see if we can see anything here, especially with all the lightning that is currently occurring with this. Riley, yeah, I have it up. If you're just tuning in, again, this is tornado coverage, and it's obviously comes to a surprise to many of you, as it does to me as well. Again, we have currently 3 tornado warnings, or 4. Sorry, we got that new one. We haven't gone live for severe weather in a while, so some of our stuff is not currently up to date. We have some like technical things that we had. We were actually going to go live like 30 minutes ago, but we had a bunch of technical difficulties that happened. So, but we're good now for the most part. So again, this is live right now in Clark Range, Tennessee. We're just seeing if we can see anything here on this camera. For perspective, about not even 20 minutes ago, back over in Rickman, Tennessee, it looked somewhat like this, but the winds actually got up to 80 miles per hour, which is where we had rotation. So we're just kind of seeing if anything happens here over the next few minutes, as rotation is currently in this particular area, just off to the north of Clark Range, Tennessee, near Grimsley. Thank you, Davis, for the $5 super chat. Appreciate that. Thank you, Mark, for becoming a 7-month member. Also, shout out to Gnosis with a $20 super chat. Appreciate the generosity. And thank you also, Overdose, for the $10 super chat as well. Appreciate that. We are only 68,000 subscribers from 1 million, which is insane. Not normal? I can't disagree. This is pretty crazy to say. I mean, we literally have, currently, we have 3 tornado warnings, or 4 tornado warnings. We had five about 20 minutes ago here in Tennessee and Kentucky. And for early February, this like never happens. I don't think we've ever covered any sort of tornado warnings this far to the north in February ever. Like personally, I don't think I've ever covered any sort of tornado event this far to the north. So this is definitely pretty crazy. I mean, Kentucky is the one place right now that is actually really popping off right now. We got 4 different areas of rotation, and maybe even 5, but we have 2 tornado warnings right now. We got the one north of Pineville, we got the one north of Averts, and then we also have 2 other areas of broad rotation that may get tornado warned at some point. But, I mean, everything's just rotating right now in this environment. I mean, we have a lot of instability here, and, you know, the wind shear is definitely up there. I mean, this is we have a very strong jet stream as well in this particular region. So the setup is actually pretty favorable today, or I should say tonight here, for maybe a couple of tornadoes. Apparently, we already had a brief tornado back over north of Cookeville, I think near Gainsboro. This storm initially was crazy. If we go back just a few minutes, this was about 30-ish minutes ago. Rotation on this storm was very tight. This is when we allegedly had a tornado back over near Dodson Branch. And then it occluded, and now it's moving towards Grimsley and eventually going towards Sunbright. And we still do have a chance here for a tornado, so we're definitely still keeping a close eye on this as it continues to move east-southeast. Thank you, Paul, for becoming a member, and as well as Gummy. Welcome to the Velocities. My first time seeing your haircut? Yes, my haircut is atrocious, thank you. I'm well aware. That storm that went through the middle of Tennessee was crazy. If you follow us on Twitter... Okay, wait 1 second. Before I talk about that, apparently we may have just had a brief tornado near Barberville, Kentucky. We may have just had one. So, I'm gonna see if we can get any sort of view on this. Was it the southern or northern radar site, DJ? It's so hard to tell because our radar coverage on these storms in southeast Kentucky are not great, to say the least. And so getting a clear view of anything that may have been on the ground is going to be very difficult. The only storm that really has a very much clearer view, at least, is this one here, south of Manchester, north of Pineville. But apparently the southern radar site may have just picked up on at least a brief tornado near Barberville. Maybe something in here. I just don't see anything super definitive. Rotation is definitely there, though. I'm surprised that this one hasn't been tornado warned. It was at one point, and then they let it expire. But they have not reissued a tornado warning on that particular storm. But again, still a large area of stronger rotation north of Pineville. Rotation's a bit broader now near Averts, and then they have just gone ahead and let the severe thunderstorm warning near the Blackley area expire. But there is still rotation here as well near the Blackley area here of Kentucky that is continuing to move eastbound. As a little heads up, they have issued a severe thunderstorm watch, not a tornado watch, but a severe thunderstorm watch for eastern and northeastern Tennessee, parts of western Virginia, and southeastern Kentucky. This goes all the way through midnight tonight Eastern time. So if you are anywhere in this region, have your phone near you. If you're going to bed, have multiple ways to receive alerts. We are expecting severe weather to continue here for the next several hours, so I have multiple ways to receive alerts. We'll be live as long as needed, so we might be live here for a little bit. We'll have to wait and see. Just kind of depends on how things go. Right now we got 4 tornado warnings, and I would probably expect that there will probably be a few more here very soon. All right, we do have a new severe thunderstorm warning. They let the other one expire. They have reissued a new one for the Blackley area near Hotspot and Cornetsville in southeastern Kentucky. Mostly a wind threat as of right now, moving to the east. So if you are in this warning, you can make sure that you are staying away from windows. Thank you, Carrie, for the 7 months. Appreciate that. Also, thank you, Greg and Carrie, for becoming members. Thank you, Dave, for the 9 months. It's great to see a live stream. This is like the least likely day I felt like that we were going to go live anytime soon. I mean, I didn't really think we were going live at all this week. And maybe next week we'll actually have more live coverage of stuff, because it looks like next week will be crazy. Thank you, Thomas, for the $10 super chat as well. I'm keeping safe with my wife and animals in Jackson County, Kentucky. Stay safe. Appreciate you tuning in. Thank you, Vortex, for becoming a 7-month member. Thank you, Chris, for becoming a member as well. Thank you, Braden, for the 5 months. New SPC Outlook. Check it out. By the way, Riley, if you ever post anything, just at me, because I'm not gonna... I have it, like, on a different tab. This is one of our soundings from KRMX. Actually shows a pretty decently curved hodograph here, which does indicate that we have a pretty good amount of wind shear right now in the atmosphere. So once again, there is a lot of wind shear out there. Any storms that are able to, intensify and stay relatively discreet are going to have the capability of producing a tornado. And also, it looks like the Clark Range Radar Omega Cyclone Port, the one that is in this tornado warning over in Tennessee, has just gone out. So there is a possibility that either, one, it's just a brief connection issue due to rain, or two, we may have had wind damage or some power outages or something like that in the area. Give me another camera, Hayden, that might have something around that area. I can replace it. For now, we'll put this one there. Thank you, Angel, for becoming a member. What I was saying earlier is that this storm right here, south of the Jamestown area, this one that's been ongoing for hours now, we mentioned this back at around 5 o'clock, I think, 5:30 Eastern time. It was back up near Clarksville, and I did mention that this one had really the most likely chance of producing a tornado. And again, allegedly, there was a tornado near the Dodson Branch area. Now, at this point, it's very hard to tell if there's anything that's, tornadic here. We are in between radar sites. Overall, the rotation has appeared at least somewhat weaker, but there is a chance that this still does try to produce a tornado. It's still discrete, still has an environment here where a tornado does remain a possibility. And again, it is currently heading in the direction of Clinton. So if you are in the Clinton or Oak Ridge area, definitely stay weather aware as this continues to move east. But definitely make sure you're following us on Twitter and Facebook if you're not already, because again, we do a lot of the time, even if we're not live, we do post updates on this type of stuff, and we mentioned this hours ago that this would probably produce some sort of tornado threat. Thank you, Court, for becoming a member. Thank you, Waco, for the $5 super chat. I have not. I don't think. It doesn't ring a bell. Sounds like they're moving pretty quick. Most of these storms are moving east or east-southeast at around 30 to 45 miles per hour. So they're relatively quick. All right, back to Kentucky. We'll see if anything has changed in Kentucky here over the last several minutes. Rotation is broadening out quite a bit near the Barberville area of Kentucky. So that's not nearly as concerning. Again, you can tell that it's much duller colors, not really anything tightening there. We still do have some stronger rotation, though, near Walker and Field and Beverly. They have gone ahead and canceled the tornado warning north of Averts and west of Cumberland. That supercell has been really weakening here over the last several minutes, but some quarter-sized tail remains a possibility. And then back near Blackley, the rotation is beginning to come together quite a bit now near Hotspot in the Whitesburg area, moving east-northeast and will eventually go towards Jenkins, Kentucky. So stay weather aware if you're in this area. This particular storm has become a lot more organized over the last several minutes. You can see that rotation is starting to ramp up a little bit more. It's not really too tight yet. I don't think we'll get a tornado warning in the next couple of minutes, but we might get one in 10 to 15 minutes if that's able to continue to organize here over the next little bit. All right, Cumberland. Let me add Cumberland, Tennessee. All right, we got another, we're going to go back to the 3-cam view. We got another camera that we can add to the bottom right. Have I ever considered moving to Wichita, Kansas? Excuse me? Thank you, Lily, for the $20 super chat. Also, thank you, Davis, for the $20 super chat. Appreciate the generosity, guys. Thank you. Thank you, Spring Forward, for the 4 months, and Echo for the 8 months. That camera isn't loading right now, the Cumberland one. Clark Range is back, though. We can put Clark Range back up. So the Clark Range one doesn't look like... We may have had like a brief outage there where there's a tornado warning in Tennessee. The camera has come back. It's back at the bottom right again. So that is back and ready to go. Stay on the 3 camera view until we have another radar scan. So, for the record, my haircut, just a quick little story. My haircut, I went to get the haircut, and I asked for a high fade, and they basically decided to shave off, like, all my hair. So, that's the story. It was not intentional to be like this. I just gotta grow it back. There's not much else to it. It was basically a buzz cut. It was not a low taper fade. By the way, Dibble, if we get any warnings, you can post them. How common are events like these? When we have tornado warnings in February, it's usually not this far north. I mean, this is something that is much more common in, like, the Dixie Alley. But this hardly ever happens. I don't know the last time we actually had any sort of tornado warnings in Kentucky in the month of February, especially this early in February. I'm not sure the last time we had any. I just know for a fact that this is not something you see very often. It's definitely not something we've never seen, but it's pretty uncommon. And it really takes the right ingredients. We need a lot of moisture coming from the Gulf, and we need cold air kind of mixing in with that as well. And we have a lot of instability and quite a bit of wind shear here. So this environment is actually impressive, to say the least, what we have here today. Overall, the instability isn't like anything like what we would see in Texas in the summertime. Like, I mean, the values are not that high, but there's enough instability there for, you know, storms to get going and organize. This is the latest radar scan over in Kentucky near Walker and Field. This is, again, the tornado warning for Clay, Harlan, Bell, Leslie, and Knox counties. And it's currently moving east. Rotation is not really tight as of right now, but we are continuing to watch it in case it does try to ramp up and try to produce something. And this is your hook right here. That's the inflow notch. And again, it'll continue to move east towards Harlan over the next several minutes. Tornado warning for the Fentress County in Tennessee has just been updated. It is still radar indicated. Overall, the rotation has now moved out of the Clark Range and Grimsley's area, so if you're in either of those locations of Tennessee, you are good to get out of your safe place. But this storm does continue to cause at least some concern here as it moves towards Sunbright, Wartburg, and eventually going towards Clinton, Oliver Springs, and Oak Ridge. If you're in any of these areas, stay weather aware. This particular storm that has been rotating for a few hours now has the potential to still produce maybe an isolated tornado as it moves towards I-75 and eventually going towards Knoxville. Here's a live view out of Oak Ridge, Tennessee. This is well ahead of that supercell right now, but it is calm for the time being. It is the calm before the storm. Might see something here in a little bit. So if you're back over in the Knoxville region or near Oak Ridge, definitely make sure that you're staying weather aware. Guys, I did not lose a bet for my haircut. Alright, let's see. Next camera can be Oak Ridge. We can pull up that one next. I'll replace it with Rickman. Because Rickman is pretty much done now. What are the chances of Knoxville getting a tornado? I would honestly say the chances of there being a tornado in one particular location tonight are very low. However, we are still watching the situation closely. I mean, I wouldn't rule out another tornado or two before tonight is over. The SBC did issue a new outlook. I do want to pull that up real quick. Show you what the new outlook is for tonight. So this is the latest from the Storm Prediction Center. So we do have a 2% tornado risk across parts of eastern and northeastern Tennessee, which includes Crossville, Knoxville, and Jamestown, and around the Johnson City area. That 2% risk also goes into extreme western Virginia and southeastern Kentucky, which is where a few supercells are currently rotating. And then this is the general risk. So we still have a slight risk for severe weather for Jamestown, Crossville, and Knoxville again in Tennessee and also back through southeastern Kentucky. So I have multiple ways to receive alerts if you're in any of these areas. I do think another tornado is a possibility here over the next couple of hours. We do have actively 3 tornado warnings, but again, I still think there's going to be probably another tornado here before tonight is over with this particular environment. And again, it's about 8 o'clock right now, and usually the threat would die off after sunset, but instead this threat is going to be continuing more than likely through about midnight tonight. And this is the tornado warning cell currently back over in Tennessee. We are going to pull up the next camera here. Let's go to Oak Ridge. And we do have a tornado possible label that was added to the Perry County and Letcher counties in Kentucky tornado warning, which is going to be this one. So this tornado warning back up near Cumberland has just got added to now a tornado possible, so they've upgraded that warning. Does not mean that we're going to see a tornado in the next 2 or 3 minutes, but it is something the National Weather Service is monitoring for a potential for a tornado as that eventually moves towards the Jenkins area. And we still have a tornado warning ongoing back over near Field and Beverly for another 3 minutes. And then after this, that one is done, and we actually may not have another. This tornado warning continues for 18 more minutes, but this will likely be the last tornado warning for Kentucky for at least a little bit until either this storm tries to organize again or the one back over north of Cumberland tries to ramp up again. Thank you, Files, for the $10 super chat. Hair looks good, my ma'am. Ignore the haters. Appreciate that. Thank you. All right, let me go back to the 3-cam view here. We got Oak Ridge now, Tennessee at the bottom of your screen. On the 3-cam view, there is like 2 scrollers at the bottom. Look closely. Oops. Are there? I don't see a second scroller. I might be tripping though. Goes cheese curd. She's actually next to me right now. I might at some point. Where's everybody watching from tonight? Curious. Where's everybody watching from here on this small little severe weather outbreak tonight back over in the Ohio Valley? Western North Carolina. I wouldn't anticipate much in Western North Carolina. Isolated damaging wind risk after midnight. Oh, I see that. Thank you. Okay. I did not notice that. Thank you. That is very... you have a really good eye because I did not see that. Yeah, we're going to add that back at some point. We got to flip them out for severe weather season. Got some people from Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, Little Rock. Got some Tennessee people in here, Kentucky. The tornado warning in Kentucky has just been canceled, so we are back down now to 1 tornado warning. The warning counter will update here in just a moment. So our only tornado warning for the time being, again, this is probably going to change here soon, but our only tornado warning for now is back over near Deer Lodge and Sunbright in eastern Tennessee. And the rotation here aloft still looks at least broad, so this is still something we're going to have to watch for. If you're back over near Clinton, Oak Ridge, or Knoxville, continue to stay weather aware. Again, those will be the next areas in line for this supercell that may produce a tornado again. Again, we likely already had at least 1 tornado. Some of the damage reports that are coming out of this storm back over near Rickman and Cookville, which is where we allegedly had our first tornado. Cookville, Tennessee, there were several reports of damage on the north side of Cookville, a tree blocking Highway 293, scattered debris, and multiple power flashes, which is definitely an indicator of at least high winds. Also on Park Road in Rickman is blocked because of a tree, power line, and a transformer are down. That's as of about 20 minutes ago. And then back over in the east side of Cookville, this is just north of Monterey in Overton County, again in Tennessee, multiple power flashes in the Crawford community. So in those areas, there have already been damage reports. And again, it's all from this supercell, which if I had to guess, there was a tornado in that area. The rotation was very strong on radar. If we go back a little bit here, I'll just go back and show you guys, maybe if you're just tuning in. But this is what the storm looked like when it was going through the Rickman area. It's actually a little bit stronger here, a little bit further back. Let's go back 50 frames. This would have looked like when it was going right through the Dodson branch area. I mean, that's pretty tight rotation. It's hard to deny that that would have been a tornado there, just north of Cookeville. And then it eventually broadened out, but we likely, at least on the leading edge of this, after that likely tornado occluded near Dodson Branch, we probably had an RFD surge, which ended up knocking down trees and power lines and such, and that's probably where a lot of the damage over here near Rickman came from. So if I had to guess, if we had a tornado, it was more than likely near the Dodson Branch area, which the radar megacyclone port there now is very calm. Just a few raindrops coming down, not too shabby. But other than that, things are now clearing out over there. Here's a view of the other tornado warning near Deer Lodge. So again, the rotation's still broad. Definitely still have some strong winds going towards the radar. As this continues to move east, we're going to keep a close eye on it. If we can see this become a little bit more organized, stays discreet and becomes a little bit more organized, I think a tornado is going to be a possibility again as that moves towards Clinton and Oak Ridge. And back up in Kentucky, we have all severe thunderstorm warnings for the time being. Broad rotation near approaching Harlan, Kentucky, and then broad rotation just southeast of Blackley, and again, or Blackie, and that's going to be moving eventually towards Jenkins. And then elsewhere, all wind threats. So if I did not mention a storm that's in your area, everything else is just wind. Our only tornado concerns right now are the storm southeast of the Blackie area, just west of Harlan, and then also back over west of Oak Ridge. And I think, honestly, out of all the storms that we have currently, I would have to say that this one in Tennessee remains the most concerning. I'm not sure if that is some sort of contamination. That looks like a tornado. I think we may have a tornado on the ground right now in Tennessee. That is a really impressive CC signature, and the velocities have tightened a ton here over the last couple minutes. Let me go higher on tilts here. Apparently the ZDR radar also confirms this. The ZDR radar product. Let me go to tilt 2 and 3. I don't have a clear view on tilt 3. And I don't have one on tilt 2 either. Riley, if you have a photo of it, let me know. I think we do have a tornado here, though. This is a large tornado debris signature, and the velocity... Wow. This could be a very strong tornado. That is a huge debris signature just east of Deer Lodge. This could go PDS. This is almost undoubtedly a strong tornado. And the velocities are very tight on this. This is a huge tornado.
A new tornado
that's currently going in the direction of Buffalo and Clinchmore. If you are in this warning, you've got to get underground if you can. This is a very dangerous storm right now, approaching Annandale, Gobby, and eventually going towards Oak Hill and Mahan Village. For perspective, this is a little bit better view of the wind speeds when it comes to velocities. That pink and purple, or pink and blue, that is very strong winds. And obviously the CC signature here is huge. We definitely have a strong tornado right now near Annandale and eventually going towards the Gobby area. This will be
a new tornado warning has been issued.
They have issued a new tornado warning, not for now any sort of confirmation. But if I had to guess, this is likely a large tornado just from what we're seeing on the correlation coefficient in correlation as well to the velocities. This is going to be more than likely a rain-wrapped tornado too, and there's quite a bit of lightning, so there's a possibility that it might also be a little bit visible if there's maybe a chaser in the area. I kind of doubt there's many chasers out there, but you never know. New tornado warning now has just been issued. This is going to include Oak Ridge, Tennessee, which we are going to put bottom right of your screen. But Oak Ridge, Tennessee, Oliver Springs, Wartburg, and as well as Sunbright, all included in this new tornado warning. We also have a new tornado warning back over near Harlan in Kentucky. Rotation is starting to intensify again. If you are in Harlan or Cawood, get to your safe place back over in southeastern Kentucky. This is a very concerning storm. We see our next camera here that's going to be in line for this storm is going to be back over near Oak Ridge. We have a new radar scan coming in right now. I mean, this is easily, just by the debris signature in correlation also to the gate-to-gate shear being about 180 miles per hour. Granted, this is a bit further away from the radar site, but nonetheless, I mean, this is definitely criteria for a PDS tornado warning. For now, it is still radar indicated, but again, velocities are still very strong. The CC signature is still very large as well. Again, just east of Deer Lodge, and again, just south of Sunbright. You need to be, again, in your safe place if you're anywhere in this pink polygon. This is a strong tornado that is going to be going towards Oak Ridge, Tennessee. This is unbelievable for February, but again, if you know any friends or family in this area, Oak Ridge, Coalfield, Wartburg, Buffalo, the Petros area, again, make sure that they're aware that this is a likely tornado that's going to be heading in those areas. And even if it's not a tornado by the time it gets there, this is still obviously very concerning. This is not close to Nashville. This is very far to the east of Nashville. And for perspective, Nashville is all the way back here to the west. I mean, Nashville's already done with even just storms in general. Just rain at this point. Storm back over west of Harlan as well is starting to ramp up. Back in southeastern Kentucky, a rain-wrapped area of rotation. Definitely beginning to get a lot more concerning here. That's going towards Harlan and Avarts. Again, moving east. That could also drop a tornado in the next few minutes as that continues to track towards the Virginia and Kentucky border. We still have a relatively large debris signature here, moving east-southeast. I'll have another radar scan here in just a moment, which is now just coming in. If you are just tuning in, a tornado has been happening for the last few minutes near Deer Lodge, just south of Sunbright in Tennessee. It is approaching Wartburg, Petros, Oliver Springs, and eventually Oak Ridge. And keep in mind that this particular supercell is on track for the Clinton and Knoxville areas in eastern Tennessee.
This is an urgent alert. A tornado is on the ground. Seek shelter immediately.
Alright, they have just updated the warning. It is now a confirmed tornado. So this is now officially observed. They have not upgraded to the PDS, which, in my opinion, is surprising with what we've seen on radar. However, it doesn't matter. At least now people know in this area that there is a confirmed tornado. If you are in this area, you need to be in your safe place. It's a dangerous storm. It is likely, at the minimum, a strong tornado. It's right over Annandale, and it's right over the Pilot Mountain area, Route 27. It's going to be approaching Buffalo and eventually going towards Petros, Oliver Springs, Coalfield, and Oak Ridge. Camera bottom right of your screen is in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. It's this one right here on the Radar Omega app. Again, this is only about 25-ish miles out, so we're keeping a close eye on that. And then back over in Kentucky, giving a little quick view of this storm that's tornado warned. Rotation is a little bit broader on the last couple of scans, just southeast of Beverly, Kentucky. We are still monitoring that storm closely, though, in case it does end up trying to produce a tornado as it moves east. Avarts is really the main location now in the track of that storm. But again, this right here is our tornado. I'm going to stay a little bit more zoomed out, but that right there is your tornado. And I'm going to see if we have any other reports on this storm. Do we have any more cameras in Oak Ridge, Hayden? All right, tornado has now just crossed over Route 27 north of Lansing. It is going right over Pilot Mountain and is approaching Gobi, Oak Hill, and Mahan Village. So again, very rural areas here just outside of Oak Ridge, but eventually it's going to be going towards a more populated region. I mean, you got Clinton, you got Oak Ridge, you got Knoxville, all in this area, which Again, this supercell is pretty much going right into that area. It's going east-southeast. Not be really going a worse direction when it comes to population. But if that tornado is still on the ground, it's going to be located right back near Route 27. Okay, sounds good. We got some in Knoxville, too. This is a live view in Knoxville right now. It is pretty quiet out there right now. Again, the calm before the storm. You are just tuning in again. This storm has now been upgraded to confirmed. We had a huge debris signature on this only a few minutes ago. Almost undoubtedly a strong tornado, if not maybe even an intense tornado back near Deer Lodge. Mostly hitting lots of trees, but there were at least a few homes, I'm pretty sure, where this tornado hit. It is now going towards Oak Hill and Mahan Village, and eventually Oak Ridge, Tennessee. And this is far east of Nashville. It's nowhere near Nashville, just for those that are in that area. Rotation back up in Kentucky is a little bit broader right now. Again, we have two storms that are rotating in southeast Kentucky, one back over near Pineville, and then we also have one west of Harlan. Those are both broad areas of rotation. And then this storm near Whitesburg is relatively just wind and lightning. Not really seeing a whole lot of rotation there anymore. But we'll keep a close eye on it. Let me go back to this radar site. The latest radar scan is still showing at least debris fallout. There may not be a tornado anymore, but there's at the minimum a debris fallout here. I would not get out of your safe place, though. I do think that this will at least have the capability of trying to produce a tornado for probably a long time. I mean, there's not really much stopping this storm right now. The only thing that may be able to stop it is if we get enough convection on the south side of it to create some storm mergers, and even that might only be a temporary solution to its intensity. But if you're in Knoxville, if you're in Oak Ridge, you got to be ready to go to your safe place. Oak Ridge, you should be there now. If you're in Knoxville, definitely have that tornado action plan ready to go in case this does try to go haywire again, because I honestly think that this could be something that's a bit problematic here for the next hour or so in this environment. I just want to throw this out there. The HRRR had nailed this a couple hours ago. Like, back around 2 or 3 o'clock this afternoon, it had this particular storm, and it went all the way through Knoxville on the future radar. I'm trying to pull that up so you can see. But, I mean, I saw this earlier today, but you can see, right, this storm right here, the HRRR had this storm right here, tornadic, all the way through Knoxville. So, I mean, granted, this model has been very accurate so far with this storm. It's probably going to continue to stay somewhat tornadic all the way through Oak Ridge. And that doesn't mean it's going to be producing a tornado at all times, but it's probably going to be rotating at least all the way through Oak Ridge. If not, maybe even a bit further than that, possibly all the way through Knoxville. By the way, huge shout out to Natasha for the $50 super chat. Put some W's in the chat for Natasha. Appreciate the generosity. Near Cumberland Gap, Tennessee, you are covering my neck of the woods. Thank you for covering. We lost our home in the March 2nd, 2012 storms. I'm sorry to hear that. I hope that you've been able to rebuild since then. That is definitely not something that anybody ever wants to live through. And unfortunately, this tornado that we just had was more than likely one that damaged multiple homes. Back over near Deer Lodge. And it may have even damaged some back over on the north side of the Wartburg area, too. I am retweeting a photo on Twitter at MaxVelocityWX of the possible tornado near the Wartburg, Tennessee area. It's not a super clear view as it is nighttime, but it is a view. It's at MaxVelocityWX on Twitter. By the way, NATOcast 2 pretty much nailed this tornado forecast, with probabilities being the highest in eastern Tennessee and even southeastern Kentucky, which so far, the only two tornadoes that we've been able to confirm via radar have both been in Tennessee. This one back over northwest of Oak Ridge, and then the other one back over near Cookeville. And it's from the same storm. This same supercell has now produced 2 different tornadoes. And Oak Ridge looks like it's out. We'll go... Oh, I have all Oak Ridge. All right, let me fix that. When Oak Ridge comes back, I'll put it back up, bottom right. It just came back. We'll do that. For the time being, the rotation is a bit broader, but I think it's going to be recycling here over the next several minutes as it moves towards Oak Ridge. It did, again, it produced a tornado about 45 minutes before this one, and so, I mean, if history repeats itself, we'll probably have another one within the next 45 minutes as it continues to move towards Oak Ridge. I've been seeing some people posting in the chat that Oak Ridge has a nuclear power plant. It's definitely not a good thing for this situation. Is this going to North Carolina? I don't think North Carolina is going to see tornadoes tonight, but I do think a low damaging wind risk.
This is an urgent alert. A tornado is on the ground. Seek shelter immediately.
The warning has just been updated. There's nothing new here, but the tornado warning is still confirmed for the time being for Morgan, Rowan, Anderson, and Scott counties in Tennessee. So again, if you are in any of those counties and you're in the pink polygon here, make sure that you are in your safe place, away from windows and lowest floor possible. Thank you, Brecklin, for the $20 super chat. In Danger Ridge, Tennessee, just east of Knoxville, do you think this storm in Oak Ridge will come over us or go north? I think in general, I'll like kind of do a little outline here, but I think in general, like this storm could impact anyone in the white outline that I just made here. We could see it go slightly further north or south, but this is the general region where you should be on alert for this particular supercell. That is, again, tornadic right now. The one that's back up northwest of Jefferson City, near State Route 63, this should remotely stay wind. I don't think this will become tornadic just with its positioning, and overall does not look organized whatsoever. And then the storms back up in Kentucky. These ones are very messy right now, but if anything can become a bit more discreet, these storms definitely could still produce an isolated tornado risk over the next couple of hours. Thank you, Caleb, for the super chat. I'm just wondering if Cookeville area will have more coming later or if we're out of the woods. I think Cookeville is, at this point, done. I don't think Cookeville is going to see anything else because you're much further to the west of where the primed environment is. At this point, this severe weather threat is mostly confined to this region. Again, we could still have an isolated severe storm a little bit further east or south of that circle that I just drew, but in general, this is our main area that we're talking about right now. Thank you, Steven, for the super chat. Appreciate that. If you guys do have any friends or family that might be in the Oak Ridge, Knoxville, or Lenoir City areas, for example, or Jefferson City, basically anywhere in this region, feel free to share the stream with them. Again, we'll be live throughout this tornado warning, and then also if it continues to produce a threat for a tornado even through Knoxville, we'll definitely be live. This is a very populated area that we're talking about right now. Thank you, Chair. Appreciate that. Or Char. Is it Chair or Char? I think it's Char. Appreciate the generosity. Or Char. Sorry. I'm not very good with the names. Alright, new radar scan coming in. We're going to go back to Kentucky in a second. Rotation's ramping up again there. Gonna keep going back and forth. I don't see any debris signature anymore, so I think the tornado here near Wartburg has lifted. Again, that does not mean if you're in Oak Ridge or Knoxville that you go outside and celebrate, because again, we're likely going to have another area of rotation that intensifies here over the next 20 to 30 minutes. I do think this tornado threat will continue here very soon. So again, it's already produced now 2 different tornadoes. They've happened at various times. One happened about an hour ago. This one just happened over the last 20 minutes. pretty good chance it's going to try to recycle as it moves to the east-southeast, with instability and wind shear peaking right now. Back over near Harlan, Kentucky, the rotation is beginning to intensify yet again. They did cancel the tornado warning on this storm again. I wouldn't be surprised if they reissue another tornado warning here soon, as that eventually goes towards Cowwood, near Varts, and eventually going towards Shepherd Hill in Virginia. So again, that's right along the Virginia and Kentucky border where that'll be heading here very soon. And then further to the north, the environment is a lot less favorable for tornadoes. Mostly just some lightning, a little bit of hail, and also some wind. Back over along the Kentucky and Virginia borders. And as a reminder, if you are new to the channel, don't forget to hit the red button down below and subscribe. Again, we are your one-stop shop for severe weather coverage. This is going to be something you're going to be seeing on our channel a lot more in April, even March, and eventually as we go into May. It's going to be a very busy severe weather season, I think, with what we're already seeing out there. I'll have another radar scan here in a second. Thank you, Honey, for the $10 super chat. Yeah, this is not actual tornado season, technically, for Kentucky or Tennessee. We don't usually see tornadoes this time of the year. It's definitely, it's a lot more rare this time of the year to see any sort of tornadic activity. This is from Billy Bowling on Twitter. This is with his, I don't know if it's a drone or an actual camera, but this is his view of that tornado from a few moments ago, back over near Wortown. It's very hard to see exactly what we're looking at for a tornado here, because it's obviously dark outside, but if I had to assume, it's probably somewhere in here. Where the yellow light thing is. I think that's a drone. Yeah, that is a drone. But, again, you can see that Twitter photo for yourself on Twitter, again, at MaxVelocityWX. Hey, Waco for the super chat. Probably not. We'll have a video, though, tomorrow morning talking about snow chances again. Where is Jellicoe? Are we talking about Jellicoe, Tennessee? Luke, are you talking about the Jellicoe storm here? The storm back over east of Valrilla in Kentucky is also starting to intensify again. We actually have multiple areas of rotation. Even this little baby storm here near Nolensburg. That thing even has rotation. I mean, it might not look like much, but that is actually rotating in southeast Kentucky. It's literally rotating, and it's like the tiniest thing ever. I mean, it won't produce a tornado at that size, but still, that's pretty crazy. We do have a little bit of some storm merger activity right now near Oak Ridge. Depending on how long that lasts, could hinder its tornado threat here in the short term, but it should ramp up again here soon, as it does continue to move towards Clinton, and again, eventually towards Knoxville.
A new tornado warning has been issued.
Alright, they have issued a new tornado warning. That is going to be for the Morgan, Rowan, Knox, Anderson, and Scott counties in Tennessee. That is going to be an extension to this tornado warning. So if you are in this area, make sure that you are getting to your safe place immediately. Again, this is a storm that already has a history of producing tornadoes, and we may see another one here as it continues to move to the east-southeast. The warning should pop up on your screen here in just a moment. There you go. So Oak Ridge, Clinton, Claxton, Carnes, Marlow, the Hardin Valley, Coalfield, all included in this brand new tornado warning. And this storm has a history of producing tornadoes already, and there's a chance it tries to produce another one. Again, at this time, we no longer have anything that's confirmed. The warning that is confirmed expires in 5 minutes. but the new one is for now radar indicated. The one southeast of Jellicoe has caught my attention just a little bit. Didn't really think that wouldn't have much of a tornado risk. Not really seeing much still right now, but this is something to at least keep an eye on. It should stay mostly a wind threat, but yeah, I mean, the tornado threat here, in my opinion, is much lower than this storm, but it's still something to watch for as that eventually goes in the direction of Morristown. Thank you, Jacob. Appreciate the generosity. Locals say there was a tornado in Cookeville. Cookeville either had one of two things, and I'm leaning towards it being the second thing. It was either a tornado or RFD surge, which means like we had a rear flank downdraft, very strong winds that were straight line after the tornado happened. I'm leaning more towards that this was a RFD surge in Cookeville. I think if we had a tornado, it was back up near Dodson Branch in this area. And again, this was from a little over an hour ago. There was also a tree down on or near a house on Cindy Drive in extreme northern Putnam County in Tennessee. That's a new report from that first tornado that we had. Rotation near Alva and as well as Cowwood and Avarts is still relatively broad. We're keeping a close eye on that activity. I think the tornado risk is at least going down a little bit right now in Kentucky and Virginia. It still stays on the low side, but definitely not zero here in Tennessee. Thank you, Ty, for the $5 super chat. Are we in El Nino or La Nina? We are in La Nina right now, which promotes, technically, in this region, it's a little bit different. But back in, like, the Dixie Alley in the southeast, it's usually drier than normal and usually warmer than normal, which we've seen for the last couple of weeks. But when it comes to severe weather, it's usually not nearly as prevalent during this time of the year. Usually ramps up more in the actual spring. Anything to worry about in Nashville? I don't think so. I think Nashville's pretty much done for the night when it comes to severe storms.
A new tornado warning has been issued.
All right, we have a new tornado warning in Kentucky. That's going to be for Alva, Cowwood, and Smith. If you are in this warning, seek shelter immediately away from windows, lowest floor possible, and get into an interior room of your home or building. As this storm has, or this area, I should say, has been tornado warned a bunch here over the last hour. And we now have a new tornado warning for a broad area of rotation. Again, approaching Smith and Cowwood. It'll eventually go towards Pennington Gap and eventually towards Big Stone Gap. But this storm is attempting to reorganize. It's a very small little supercell, not nearly as large as the one in Tennessee, but still has the same type of capabilities of trying to produce a tornado. Okay, let me go to... wrong screen. Go to this. We go to slot 3. Was 3. All right. This is in Oak Ridge, Tennessee right now. This is where we have a tornado warning again back over in Kentucky, or sorry, in Tennessee. Sorry, I was trying to launch something, but again, that's where we currently have a tornado warning. Not seeing anything quite yet, but if you're in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, make sure that you are in your safe place. And this is what the storm looks like right now. We've had some storm mergers that are coming out of the west, which have hindered its overall rotation. But if it can overcome those storm mergers, it will definitely try to recycle and try to produce another tornado. And unfortunately, with its timing, if it's able to overcome these storm mergers, it might be a bigger concern for the Knoxville area. But again, there's a chance that it doesn't overcome the storm merger, so there's no reason to panic right now. But if you're in the Knoxville area or the Halls Crossroads area, just make sure that you're staying very vigilant right now. Have that tornado action plan ready to go, as this storm is definitely still capable of trying to produce a tornado here. Go back to the other radar site. Rotation is getting a little bit tighter right now near Alva, but I don't see anything definitive when it comes to a CC drop or anything like that. If we do have a tornado in southeast Kentucky, it's definitely going to be more on the rain wrap side of things near Smith. And the worst part about this is that this is happening at night, so the awareness of there even being tornado warnings is going to be low. In addition to it being early February, I don't think many people in Tennessee or Kentucky are thinking about severe weather in the month of February. But here we are. Rotation right now on this storm northwest of Oak Ridge. It's going to be located near Buffalo. It is attempting to recycle right now. It's not having a very successful time, but it is trying to recycle, and it will be approaching Clinton and Oak Ridge over the next 10 to 15 minutes. The storm is moving east-southeast at about 40 miles per hour. So rotation will eventually be in the... If this is still rotating and is still tornado warned, it will be right over Knoxville in about 35 to 40 minutes. So it's not actually that far away. Get your trampoline secured. You should be getting your trampoline secured. Today is tossing trampolines on Tall Trees Thursday. All right, here's the latest radar scan. We'll see if there's anything new with the storm. And for now, it's still broad rotation. Again, we have a lot of storm activity back out here to the west that's merging into the supercell. So as long as that is happening, that's a good thing.
A new tornado warning has been issued.
All right, we do have a new tornado warning. This is going to be for Virginia. That is Lee County, Virginia. That's Boone's Path and Jonesville. If you are in this warning, seek shelter immediately away from windows, lowest floor possible, and get into an interior room of your home or building. Rotation on this storm is a bit broader on the last scan, but is still rotating for sure. And even if it does not produce a tornado, it has the potential for some damaging winds and a frequent lightning. So if you're in Jonesville, if you're in Boone's Path or Blackwater in Virginia, make sure that you're getting to your safe place. Why? What? My cat has awoken. We currently have 3 tornado warnings. We got 1 in Tennessee, 1 in Kentucky, and 1 in Virginia. This is, again, the 1 in Tennessee right now, going in the direction of Knoxville. Let me get the Knoxville cameras ready to go, too. Okay, we got Knoxville 1, and we got 1 more Knoxville. Alright, getting the Knoxville cameras ready to go. We're going to probably go 3 cam view, and we're going to put up both Knoxville cameras. Back to 3 cam view for now. We'll load here in just a second. I like your storm cloud light in the background. Appreciate it. I bought that like 2.5 years ago. It's been a while since I got that. Tornado warning in Harlan County, Kentucky. The hail size has been downgraded. It is back down to under 0.75 inches in diameter, so nothing significant when it comes to hail out of that storm. Stay a little bit more zoomed out here for the moment. As a reminder, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe down below, like the stream as well. It does help get this out to more people. If you have any friends or family that are in the Knoxville, Clinton areas, or anywhere else really in eastern Tennessee that you think needs some weather coverage, again, this is free coverage. Share the stream with them. Do that via Facebook, Twitter. Easy to do. There is a share button down below. We'll get the word out about this. Again, this is not something that many people are going to be aware of purely due to the fact it is literally early February. So definitely make sure that people are aware. And again, this is pretty last second. I mean, you know, we talked a little bit about it yesterday in our video update on our second channel, and we also talked about it this morning in today's video. But this is definitely something that got upgraded a lot more at the last second. The instability and also the wind shear was a lot stronger than initially forecasted. So this has actually overperformed a little bit here tonight. We've already at least had 2 tornadoes, and one of those was likely strong. We may have even had a second strong tornado, and definitely not ruling out another one here soon. For the time being, the Kentucky storms, nothing confirmed out of these quite yet, but we've had several storms rotating back up here near Harlan and Avarts. Overall, though, for the time being, this is mostly wind and lightning and rain. And then the storm back over near Knoxville, a lot of this right now is really being hindered by all the storm mergers that we're seeing near Oliver Springs. As long as that continues to happen, the tornado threat is going to be much lower around Knoxville. But the concern is, if this storm merging activity stops here soon, I don't really think we're going to be ending up seeing, or we're probably going to end up seeing a tornado. Let me fix the camera, sorry. There we go. There's no active tornado. We have nothing confirmed as of right now. It is all radar indicated activity. But this is I'd say out of all the storms that we have right now, the one back up along the Kentucky and Virginia border is probably the closest to producing. This one, just all it needs is to get away from this little area of moisture that's kicking into where the hook is supposed to be in the inflow. If that happens, this is going to be taken off for sure. But for now, it's being limited. Yeah, if you're in the Nashville area, you're done. I mean, there's literally nothing over in Nashville. The only area of storms that are even near you are back down near the Murfreesboro area and Cookeville, and these are all moving to the south and east. So you're done if you're over in Nashville. Only thing left will be a few passing showers overnight. The greatest concern is going to be anywhere in the severe thunderstorm watch, which includes southeastern Kentucky, western Virginia, and northeastern Tennessee. This severe thunderstorm watch goes until midnight tonight. If you're in western North Carolina, there's a low chance of an isolated severe storm, but I wouldn't expect really much of a tornado risk there. Thank you, Sally, for becoming a member. Welcome to the Velocities. All right, Oak Ridge is bottom middle of your screen. We should at least see the wind be picking up here in the next couple minutes, maybe even the lightning. But Oak Ridge is right in the direct path of this. Thank you, Preston, for becoming a 3-month member. Appreciate that. Hope everything's going well. Anything for Ohio? Ohio is not going to see anything out of this. All right, we'll go full cam for a moment. We're going to go full cam to... Go first to Oak Ridge, Tennessee. This is a full cam view right now of Oak Ridge on the radar Omega Cyclone port. Wind and rain are starting to pick up now. This is again inside of the tornado warning. We've had really not much of an inflow here recently, but I do think the storm is at least beginning to recycle again. Back over near Clinton. Rotation is broad on the bottom right of your screen, but we are starting to see at least a little bit of circulation developing now. A little bit further to the east. That's just off to the north of Oak Ridge. This is again live on just the east side right now of Oak Ridge near Highway 95. By the way, if you're in a mobile home out in front of this tornado warning, definitely a good idea to have a plan ready to go, just in case things get a little bit hairy. In case you do actually get a tornado warning. This is back over in Knoxville, Tennessee right now. This is also in the downtown area. Another Radar Omega cyclone port in downtown Knoxville. Wind is a little breezy there, just off the ground. Again, Knoxville is going to be in the track of the storm here over the next 25 minutes or so. You're not far from getting hit by this storm. And then this is the other Knoxville camera. It'll load up here in a second. But this one actually has a bit more of a view of the lightning right now. This is also in downtown Knoxville. Should see a few flashes of lightning. There goes one. Believe it or not, yesterday we actually had thunder ice, as in thunder freezing rain, back up in Ohio and Indiana.
A new tornado warning has been issued.
All right, we do have a new tornado warning in Virginia. So they have gone ahead and issued a new warning. That's going to be for Scott, Wise, and Lee counties in Virginia. Rotation on the southern warning is approaching Jonesville. It is broad for right now. The new warning is going to be for an area of rotation northwest of Pennington Gap. That is going to eventually go towards Jasper, Fort Blackmore, Shepherd Hill, and also on the south side of Big Stone Gap are all on the track of this in Duffield. So if you're anywhere in this new tornado warning, get to your safe place immediately, away from windows, lowest floor possible, and get into an interior room of your home or building. And then, again, back over here in Tennessee, we got a new radar scan coming in. We'll see what it looks like. The rotation, it looks like it's trying to get going a little bit more now, again, near Clinton. But for now, it's still relatively broad. It's definitely more of a wind threat, in my opinion, for the time being. Let me go back to Cam 2. We'll go back to Oak Ridge. It is starting to get a bit more of that shape again. Got a little inflow. Got a little hook again. I think this is starting to organize again. Or it's at least attempting to organize again, just to the northwest of Knoxville, which would not be a good thing. I'm gonna go to tilt 2. Not sure if it's gonna... It's too pixelated. There are actively 4 tornado warnings. This is now the, I think, 3rd different time today that we've had 4 tornado warnings at one time. Thank you, Johan, for the $10 super chat. I do take some classes like climate dynamics and applied climatology, which go a bit more in depth on that type of stuff. Wow. All right, well, we now have a new tornado warning. This is a large one. This is one of the largest tornado warnings I've seen in quite some time, and it's probably because the National Weather Service has a pretty high confidence that this will be producing a tornado at some point. This is a huge tornado warning, very long, anywhere from Clinton back through Newport, and also includes Knoxville, Halls, Crossroads, and Sevierville. If you are in this warning, you've got to be in your safe place, away from windows, lowest floor possible, and get into an interior room of your home or building. I'm definitely concerned that the amount of storm mergers that we had going into this storm are starting to wind down, and that this is now trying to ramp up again. And we may have a tornado dropping here soon, just to the northwest of Knoxville. Right now, the rotation does remain on the broader side of things, but if it does tighten up, this definitely is going to be very concerning. Let's hope that this does not tighten up, but we are awfully close to this thing really going crazy over the next few minutes. Thank you, Matthew, for the $10 super chat. Thank you, K9, for becoming a member. Sevierville. Thank you. Sevierville, my bad. Also, the storm back up north of Knoxville, the one near Tazewell, is definitely not as intense as before when it came to rotation. There was a brief stint of a little bit of rotation, but it's all wind and lightning for the time being. All right, we're going to go back to 3 camera view here in the Knoxville area, as this storm is now beginning to ramp back up again. Thank you, Dog, for becoming an 11-month VIP member. Thank you, David, as well, for becoming a member. If you know any friends or family in this tornado warning, again, feel free to share the stream with them. We'll be live here through this tornado warning all the way through Knoxville, Sevierville, as long as it is still concerning, which right now it is getting more and more concerning as it is becoming discreet again. We have a hook echo and an inflow developing again. I think it's only a matter of time until this tries to drop another tornado. Approaching a very populated area here over the next few minutes. All right, we got Knoxville on bottom left and bottom right. They're 2 different cameras, and then we got Oak Ridge in the middle. We'll go 3 cam view. Thank you, Keith, for becoming a maximum velocity member. Welcome to the velocities. Hey, TR for the super chat. I'm in Wise County, Virginia. What's it looking like? I don't know where that is, but really the main concern is going to be in far western Virginia. Actually, Wise is in a tornado warning. Just make sure you're in your safe place. The tornado warning's up here in Virginia. Rotation isn't super concerning, in my opinion. It's relatively broad, but definitely you want to stay in your safe place just in case something drops here. But in my opinion, I'm not seeing anything that really looks like it's about to drop, but still stay in your safe place. Thank you, Riker, for the $10 super chat. I've been watching since late 2022. I've been interested in weather since I was young. Also, do you think that the winter storms might pick up in intensity moving northeast? Are you talking about next week? I think next week is going to be crazy. We're going to have a ton of snow, especially in New England. Easily 2 to 3 feet of snow, I think, in a lot of areas. We'll have more details in our video tomorrow morning. Thank you, Renee, for becoming a member. We do have a new severe thunderstorm warning that has been issued for a new Tazewell back through Bean Station. And they have actually added a tornado possible label to this. But I'm not seeing much right now. Well, maybe a little bit of rotation west of New Tazewell. More concerningly, this storm now near Clinton is wrapping up pretty quickly. Inflow is intensifying. Again, we got our hook echo. And no tornado right now, but it is attempting to really ramp up here. And the winds going away from the radar have intensified a lot over the last few minutes. Once that inflow intensifies a little bit more, I think this is going to wrap up and try to produce again. Thank you, Carrie, for becoming a member. There have already been 2 tornadoes today. Our initial one was north of Cookeville. And then the other one was north of Wartburg, back over near Deer Lodge in this area. And our next one could be right over here in the Knoxville area, either in the suburbs or maybe even close to town. It's Tazewell, thank you. I thought it was Tazville. I usually don't correct myself on city names, but I kind of thought it was Tazville. I'm pretty sure we've covered that area in the past. I'll have another radar scan in a moment. It's a very long tornado warning. This is one of the longest tornado warnings I've seen in a long time. I don't know the last time we had a warning this long. It's probably the last time we had something like this was either a tornado emergency or a PDS tornado back in like the late spring. They don't usually issue warnings like this that are this long for just one warning because it usually like a storm could like weaken pretty quickly. This is over the span of about 55 miles. Now, granted, this storm is moving east-southeast at about 40 miles per hour, so it's pretty quick. But they actually have it moving east-southeast at 60 miles per hour on this warning. So it actually might be a bit faster than 40. They only issue warnings this long for either one of two reasons, or sometimes both. Either one, it's moving very fast, or two, it has a long-term concern when it comes to being a tornadic supercell, which it probably is both, in my opinion. Thank you, K9, for the super chat. Crazy start to the 2025 tornado season. It actually hasn't been too crazy yet. Like, obviously, this is pretty out of the ordinary, but it didn't have a whole lot of tornadoes in January, and the ones that happened were not super rare. It was a pretty common area where we had tornadoes in January. Ohio had thunder ice last night. Is that rare? That is not something we see very often. It's not. I would classify it as at least uncommon, but you could call it rare. It's definitely not that common. Rotation is starting to ramp up again near Claxton, approaching the northwest side of Knoxville. And bottom left and right of your screen, those are two different cameras in Knoxville right now. The one in the middle is Oak Ridge, which is where we just had this storm go through. Thank you, Chaz, for becoming a 9-month member. Thank you, Riker, for the super chat. Yeah, next week is going to be crazy. I think there's going to be a ton of snow next week. If you are in Knoxville, if you're in Halls, Crossroads, Midway, Shady Grove, Sevierville, you should be in your safe places within the next minute. You should be there already if you're in Knoxville or Halls, Crossroads. If you're anywhere back over here near Sevierville, Newport, you got a few minutes, but definitely start getting to your safe place. Again, there's nothing confirmed as of right now, but this is a storm that already has a history of producing tornadoes and may produce another one as it moves into the Knoxville area. We are starting to see a little bit of rain again coming onto the back side of that hook, so that could hinder its development again. But for the time being, it's definitely trying to tighten up here and create a couplet. Thank you, Cindy, for becoming a member. Our tornadoes are common in this area of Tennessee. They happen in eastern Tennessee. It's not uncommon. For February, I would say it's pretty uncommon. I'd even say it's rare. Thank you, Knoxville, for the super chat. This is the latest scan. And rotation has not yet tightened up. There's some broad circulation right now moving into the Knoxville area. For the time being, it is on the broader side of things. Keep in mind, it was broad last time, and then it only took like 2 or 3 minutes for that one to drop a pretty big tornado back over near Deer Lodge. Could have a similar scenario. Never know. Better to play on the safe side of things here if you're in Knoxville. I don't think we're far, though, from a tornado happening near Knoxville. What you're seeing at the bottom left, middle, or right is likely lightning. I kind of doubt it's power flashes. Our new radar scan coming in right now for Knoxville. Alright, rotation is still broad. Again, all this gray that you see in the middle here, that's at least indicating the winds are a bit more neutral. We still have very strong winds going away from the radar, which is an indicator that this is a storm that's intensifying. The winds going towards the radar are not nearly as strong. But if those can ramp up, I think the possibilities are endless with the storm. It's definitely organizing, and it's really moving right towards Knoxville. I mean, this is going to be over Knoxville in the next 5 to 10 minutes. It's going right into that area. Let's just hope it doesn't ramp up here over the next few minutes. As a reminder, if you are new to the channel, don't forget to hit the red button down below and subscribe. If every one of you subscribed right now, we'd be very close to 950,000 subscribers. We are almost to 1 million. If you have any friends or family here around the Knoxville area, or really anywhere in eastern Tennessee or Western Virginia, feel free to share the stream with them. It'll be live here as long as the severe weather threat does remain significant. We do have a couple of other warnings out there. Aside from this massive tornado warning, we have Severe thunderstorm warning back up near New Tazewell with a little bit of broad rotation, but mostly a wind threat for right now. That's going to be going towards Beech Grove and Bean Station. And then back over south of Pennington Gap, we still have a tornado warning here, but that's broad rotation, moving in the direction of Blackwater. And then back up near Big Stone Gap and Appalachia, the rotation on that activity has weakened. It's mostly just wind, a little bit of lightning, and rain. And then other than that, most of Virginia is winding down on the severe weather threat. The main threat at this point is going to be confined, I think, to this region here. So if you are in eastern Tennessee, extreme southwestern Virginia, those are really the two main areas I'll be watching for, perhaps as far east as western North Carolina. But this storm is definitely looking like it's going to try to do something here over the next few minutes. It's trying to organize. Hey, Riker, for becoming a member, welcome to the Velocities. Thank you, Derp, for the super chat. Besides the zoo in Knoxville. I mean, if you're anywhere in the Knoxville area, you should be in your safe place. I don't know if you should be working right now. I mean, I would be in your safe place. If you're working in a basement, I mean, maybe. But in my opinion, though, if you're in Knoxville, just make sure you're in an interior room, away from windows. If you are actively working, you might want to step away for a couple minutes and get to that safe place. Again, we don't have anything on the ground now. We don't have any sort of tornado confirmed yet, but the reason why we're concerned here is that this has already produced 2 tornadoes. The last one we had only about 30 minutes ago was large, and the storm looks very mean right now. I mean, we have very strong winds again going away from the radar, and it looks like the winds going towards the radar are starting to come together now. And that rotation is located right over Briarwood Estates in Fountain City. That's what it looks like right now. Again, that rotation is located right over Briarwood Estates, Fountain City, approaching Interstate 640. Kings Valley is in the track of this, eventually going towards Strawberry Hills, T-Dot Region 1. Really just barely on the north side here of Knoxville right now. This is a full-blown hook echo. I don't know what else to tell you. This is a full-blown hook echo. This is probably minutes away from producing something, if I had to guess. It has been organizing a ton over the last several minutes. An inflow and a hook echo moving right into Knoxville. And the good news is that this radar is coming in every minute or two, which helps a ton with being able to tell what's happening in real time. We have cameras, but they only can do so much in this scenario. And this is just a vicious looking storm right now in Knoxville. Thank you, Grim, for the $10 super chat. Appreciate that. Thank you, Riker, for the $10 super chat. Appreciate that. Welcome to the Velocities. This storm really could not be taking a worse track. I mean, it's literally going through some of the most populated areas here in eastern Tennessee. Obviously, it has not produced a tornado in Oak Ridge or Clinton, for example, but I mean, it's been going through almost all populated areas in eastern Tennessee. I mean, Knoxville is the most populated area out here. And then Sevierville, Newport eventually. Let's just hope that this doesn't drop, but I'm really concerned right now. I mean, the velocities are very strong, even now going towards the radar. I think this is just minutes away from dropping. It has a very impressive hook echo. Thank you, George, for the $25 super chat. Appreciate the generosity. Any reports of hail? I don't know if we've had any reports. I haven't seen any, but I'm guessing we've had some hail with these storms. I wouldn't expect anything much larger than $half sized hail, though. Thank you, Joey, for the super chat. Might be a little bit of snow next week, but Nebraska's been pretty quiet.
A new tornado warning has been issued.
We have a new tornado warning for Hawkins, Claiborne, Granger, and Hamblin counties in Tennessee. And that's probably for this storm here. That's near New Tazewell. Hasn't popped up yet, but if I had to guess, it's probably that one. All right, new tornado warning. That's for Morristown, Bean Station, Beech Grove, south of New Tazewell. Rotation is tightening up right now just to the south of New Tazewell, and it is approaching Beech Grove. You're anywhere in this pink polygon, you got to get to your safe place, get away from windows, lowest floor possible, and get into an interior room of your home or building. And this storm is also dangerous. And I mean, the other one is near Knoxville, too. We got a new radar scan coming in, and we're going to see what the rotation looks like on both of these. This one will be the first one that we get in. Alright, so far nothing tightening yet, but we still have rotation that's strengthening near I-640 on the north side of Knoxville. Nothing confirmed yet. The one back up near Lone Mountain and south of New Tazewell could be on the ground at any time. No CC drop as of right now, but very tight rotation located just to the south of New Tazewell, approaching Beech Grove and Thornhill. They'll be tracking right down They'll be tracking down Route 25 and eventually going towards Bean Station and Morristown. We're going to go back to 3 camera view on this tornado warned cell here in Knoxville. And we'll have another radar scan in a moment. Oh, wow. Bottom middle of your screen, that's live. This is in Knoxville right now. The wind has picked up a lot. The wind is picking up right now in Knoxville quite a bit. Bottom middle of your screen is like really strong winds right now. It's definitely damaging winds. I wouldn't say that's a tornado quite yet, but I mean, we're not far from it. The winds are very strong. We're gonna go full screen to that. This is what it looks like live in Knoxville. Seems like everybody has their hazards on too. Nope, the camera's moving. See the wind blowing there at the bottom of your screen on the road. Very strong winds right in north side of Knoxville. This guy's actually zooming in here on the wind. These cars that are... I'm not sure what direction they're going, but those cars are literally driving along with the wind. Or against the wind, excuse me. Yeah, this is what the storm looks like right now. The Hook Echo is impressive. It's not nearly as organized as a moment ago, but we still have a strong inflow. It's been wrapping a ton right over the north side of Knoxville. And then the storm back up near Beech Grove. That one is pretty tight as well. We're keeping a close eye on that storm. We're going to go back to 3 cams. And we'll stay zoomed out here for the time being. And we might go zoomed into one of these Knoxville cameras. We'll see. I mean, these are like going to be right in the crossfire of the wind over the next few minutes. We'll quickly go full cam to downtown Knoxville. We'll go this... This is downtown Knoxville on the Radar Omega Cyclone port. Wind is beginning to pick up now. This is just to the south of the rotation by like a mile or two. It's not far off from it. Oh. This is interesting. We have a very small but tight area of rotation right over Oakwood Lincoln Park on the north side of Knoxville. It's hard to see because the name kind of blocks it, but that right there is a little tightening. That's not necessarily associated with the broader area back to the east. We don't have a debris signature. We have a tightening right here. We may have a tornado right now near Oakwood Lincoln Park. Can't confirm it because we don't have a debris signature or confirmation yet. The winds are picking up a little bit right now in intensity. Oh, and obviously we just saw that on one of the cameras, but nothing that is evident yet. And bottom left and right of your screens are two cameras in Knoxville. The one in the middle is two. We are changing out the one in the middle to a one that is starting to pick up on wind again. You have a new radar scan that is just coming in. This is the latest scan. Again, there is still a tightening here right over North Knoxville, right along the North Broadway Street near Cecil Avenue. Again, no CC drops, so there's nothing confirmed at this point, but I wouldn't be surprised if either one, we at least have very strong winds, I think, but we may even have some sort of tornado. Possibly some sort of small tornado there. No debris signature, though, for the time being. And the north storm near Beech Grove going towards Morristown and Bean Station. That one is a little bit broader, but definitely still a concern as that moves down to the east-southeast. Camera bottom middle of your screen is getting a little bit crazy as well. That's in the, I think, northeast side of Knoxville. We'll have another radar scan within the next minute. Again, these are coming in every, like, 1 or 2 minutes. They're very fast, which is a good thing. There is a crane. Yeah, bottom left, there is actually a crane there. Do I only cover Tennessee? No, we cover the entire country. We do all the United States. So if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. We do coverage of any severe weather event, for the most part. Oh yeah, this is Tilt 2. Has a pretty strong tightening right over Oakwood, Lincoln Park. I mean, again, if there isn't a tornado, we're at least dealing with some sort of damaging wind threat right now. That's probably significant from the winds coming out of the west, but again, I wouldn't rule out that we have some sort of maybe tornado happening right now, right over North Broadway Street there on the north side of Lincoln, or sorry, north side of Knoxville. Latest scan has it much broader, but we may have just had a brief tornado there. The winds continue to stay strong over the east side of Knoxville. Rotation's a bit broader right now, near I-40. Lots of lightning, heavy rainfall moving across I-40 right now in the Knoxville area. If I had to guess, though, I honestly think we just had a brief tornado there. You don't always need a CC drop for that to be evident. May have just had a brief one, though, on the north side of Knoxville. Rotation is now a little bit further to the east of Knoxville. If you're in Knoxville, continue to stay in your safe place. I would say at least for the next 5 to 10 minutes, as there is still damaging winds out there, and also frequent lightning and heavy rainfall, which can make things very hard to see. If you're looking out your window, you might not be able to see what's happening. All right, here's the latest radar scan. And that rotation that did tighten briefly there over the north side of Knoxville has occluded. The only rotation that we have left now is east of Knoxville. Again, we still have lightning. We still have a little bit of some damaging wind potential right now in the Knoxville area. Continue to stay in your safe place if you are in Knoxville. Again, areas that are next in the track of this do include Midway, Kodak, Alder Branch, Sevierville, Shady Grove, Dandridge, Belmont, Bainbury, Newport, just south of Jefferson City here in eastern Tennessee. If you know anybody in these areas, make sure that they're aware of this. Feel free to share the stream with them. And this is still a concerning storm. Has already produced at least 2 tornadoes and may have just produced a third one moments ago. And again, if you're just to the north of this tornado warning, back near Bean Station or Morristown, we still have a tornado warning here. Rotation is located right over Beech Grove and Dotson, moving through Thornhill, Idle, and eventually going towards Bean Station and Morristown. So if you are in the pink polygon, stay in your safe place. And once again, the wind is picking up. Just east of Knoxville, this is a traffic camera. I know it's very zoomed in, but you can see how strong the winds are. They are definitely picking up. If we have another cargo by, you'll see it. There it is. Very strong winds right now. We actually got a trucker driving down the road. They are slowing down. Yeah, there is a huge surge of wind right now, moving right along I-40 eastbound. Thank you, Jen, for the $20 super chat. Thank you also, Samantha, for the $10 super chat. Appreciate the generosity. Thank you, Lucifer, for the 7 months. And that truck is coming almost to a complete stop. The winds are probably around 60 to 75 miles per hour. Yeah, everybody's coming to a stop right now. It is very windy. I mean, that wind's been going consistently for about a minute now. Everybody's come to a stop for the most part. We got another camera that we're going to... This one's moving around right now. This is also just to the east of Knoxville. That actually just went out. I think both of them just went out. All right, we just lost 2 different cameras at the same time. That actually had a good view. There are power outages for sure, because we just lost 2 cameras at the same time. So power outages are definitely happening right now around Knoxville from probably at least damaging winds, but again, there may even be some sort of tornado here. I'd say more than anything, though, from what I was just seeing there, and also by looking at radar, more than likely a rear flank downdraft surge, which means we have very strong winds really coming out of the west here that just went through the I-40 corridor, and then are also moving now towards Midway and Kodak. The storm is definitely still trying to recycle, though. The rotation is still attempting to come back together as this continues to move to the east, southeast, eventually going towards Sevierville and Newport. Oh my goodness. We have a very tight couplet right now. Back over near Thornhill and Beech Grove. Possibly a tornado dropping right now, moving towards German Creek, just north of Big Q Estates. Eventually going towards Morristown, Rocky Point. That is very strong rotation. There is a very high likelihood we have a tornado on the ground with this. This could be a strong tornado too. That is moving actually more in the direction of Idle right now. We do not have a debris signature right now, but that is a very tight couplet. I'm still very concerned about this storm near Knoxville. We still have a very strong inflow on this, which is not a good thing. I mean, this storm still has a potential of producing a tornado, probably all the way through the Newport area, maybe even further. All right, we do have a new radar scan coming in. I'm going to stay zoomed out until that radar beam comes around. Thank you, Deanna, for the 5 gifted memberships. Thank you, Kim, for the $5 super chat. I think most of Virginia at this point is just wind. The tornado risk at this point, mostly in Virginia. Could even stretch into western North Carolina, though. Alright, radar scan is coming in. If we have a tornado right now on the northern tornado warning, it's going to be over near Thornhill and Route 25. It's going to be on track for Bean Station, which we do have a tornado. There is now a tornado in progress back over near Thornhill. You need to be in your safe place if you're in this warning. This is likely a strong tornado moving in the direction of Bean Station, Tennessee. This is a very dangerous situation, again, moving towards Bean Station, Tennessee. Get into your safe place immediately if you are in this warning. This is 100% a tornado now. We have a clear debris signature right over Route 25. Very strong velocities as well. Gate-to-gate shear is probably over 100 miles per hour here. It's a very dangerous storm. And the one back or near midway, the rotation here is still trying to come together. We at least have very strong winds right now traveling right along I-40. Going towards Kodak, Beach Springs, and eventually towards Deep Springs and Shady Grove. Lots of lightning, heavy rainfall as well to go along with that. Conditions are deteriorating right now here in eastern Tennessee. And apparently the... Okay, never mind. We have another radar scan coming in, and right now, so we're going to see what this looks like. We at least have one tornado in progress right now. The one near midway is still trying to organize. Let's see what this one looks like. And it is in a weird beam thing. Looks like it has some range folding issues or something here. This is a weird little divide. Presumably the tornado is still in progress right over Route 25. Can't really see it. I'm pretty sure that right there is your tornado, though. It's in like a weird divide here. But right over Route 25, approaching Tate Springs, Beans, and again, on track right now for Bean Station, Tennessee. We do have a tornado, again, in progress. The National Weather Service has not yet officially upgraded this to confirmed. But we have verified this via radar. And then back over east of Knoxville. Rotation here is still attempting to ramp up. This is a very impressive supercell. It's been rotating for well over 2 hours now and continues to have concern as it moves towards Sevierville. Thank you, Herb, for the $10 super chat. This is at least our third tornado so far today, by the way. The one up here near Thornhill. Again, this is a 2% tornado day here in Tennessee and southeastern Kentucky. Don't see that very often. Especially in February. Alright, velocities have just up, or the CC just updated. Tornado is still in progress right over Rock Haven. Again, we're minutes away from potential impact in Bean Station, Tennessee. That right there, again, is a tornado debris signature. The velocities should update as well in a moment. They just updated. Velocities are not nearly as tight, but we at least still have rotation here, and we still have a debris signature. So, again, tornado is still in progress near Rock Haven.
This is an urgent alert. A tornado is on the ground. Seek shelter immediately.
Alright, this warning has now been officially upgraded to observed by the National Weather Service. Again, this right here is your tornado near Rock Haven. It is approaching Beans and Bean Station, and it will also be on track for areas like Morristown and long-term Bowles Gap. So stay in your safe place if you're anywhere in this pink polygon. It's approaching German Creek as well. And then the southern storm back over east of Knoxville. If you're in Knoxville, the threat now for a tornado is dying down. The greatest risk is now approaching Alder Branch, Sevierville, Shady Grove, Dandridge, and as well as Belmont, Bainbury, and Newport. All of those areas need to be staying very vigilant. You should be in your safe place if you're in this part of the warning as well. As rotation is definitely continuing, we have a very strong inflow. As long as the winds can come together here, I mean, I don't see why we won't see a tornado with this. The storm itself looks insane on radar. We have a lot of wind shear. The photographs here are very favorable for a tornado still, probably through at least 9:30. So, or sorry, not 9:30, 10:30. I'm looking at Central Time. All right, still have a debris signature over Beans and Rock Haven. It is a lot smaller and weaker than before, but we may still have a tornado. I would say more than anything, it's likely debris fallout now. That's approaching the west side of Bean Station. Right over the town, or little area here of Beans near Wilderness Road. and currently tracking to the east. What is KV, Hayden? Oh, okay. So that the camera bottom middle of your screen, that's on I-40. That is also east of Knoxville, which is where we are seeing some very strong winds from this tornado-warned cell. If any cars go by, you'll see it a little bit better. All right, I'm gonna leave it here for 2 seconds. I gotta get my jug of water. I'll be back in like 5 seconds. All right, I'm back. I wasn't prepared to be live for nearly 2 hours, so we didn't have our water ready to go. Thank you, Wayne, for the super chat. Also, thank you, Wife, for the super chat. Let me just quickly give you guys an idea of who is and isn't safe right now for severe weather. If you're anywhere west of this line, you are done with severe weather for tonight. If you're east of this line, there is still a threat of severe weather. This line is somewhat conservative. I mean, like this area, you are pretty much done. There's just a few storms in the area. Really, the main concern right now for severe weather is in extreme eastern Tennessee, and then eventually it could track into western North Carolina. I wouldn't be surprised if the Storm Prediction Center ends up extending the severe thunderstorm watch a bit further to the east to address this threat. All right, let's go back to the storms. We're going to have I think we just got a new radar scan. We'll go to that. And velocities continue to stay very strong when it comes to wind. I'm not seeing anything that's like on the ground right now in terms of a tornado near Kodak or Midway, but winds are still very strong. Tornado definitely could happen at any time. And then we still have a very tiny debris signature back near Beans. And that's now gone. So we no longer have a tornado, at least for now, near Bean Station. How come the National Weather Service doesn't update their radars in time? What do you mean? Do you mean like as in the time zone? Or are you just talking about like in general? Because the radars will update, like it's not easy to update a radar. It's a big piece of technology. Like it's not able to come in like every 2 seconds. Right now at the current state of technology, the fastest most of these radars can come in, and this is on a fast performing, high performing day, is about 1 minute and like 45 seconds to 2 minutes, which is what this radar is currently running on, which is pretty darn good for today's technology. But they do have new technology coming out. I can't remember the name of it, but I think that one is going to be a little bit faster if they start implementing it. I think it'd be closer to like 1 minute and like 30 seconds. This storm up near Bean Station, rotation is again broader at this point. That's the area of rotation, and that's where we had a tornado. The leading edge of this thunderstorm is now moving towards Music Acres in Morristown. The tornado threat on that storm is a little bit lower for the time being. The one near Sevierville is still, in my opinion, high. I mean, this storm, again, is very organized. We have a very strong inflow. We have a hook echo, lots of lightning as well. Just goes with any thunderstorm, really, but just has not wrapped yet. Been close a few times. Thank you, Elliot. Appreciate the super chat. Thank you, Greg, for becoming a member. Thank you, OJC, for the super chat. Might meet me one day. You never know. Thank you, Wayne Wife for the super chat. The Wanda as well for the super chat. Arkansas, nothing in Arkansas. By the way, today's thumbnail, I do apologize. It was slightly larger than it was supposed to be because I was rushing to go live. But Arkansas is not in a risk. It's really at this current time, it's really mainly now focused in eastern Tennessee and western North Carolina and extreme southwestern parts of Virginia. Really, the greatest concern right now is this storm near Shady Grove. I'm in Newport. What should we expect? Definitely expect damaging winds, but I would not rule out a tornado in that area. Again, it doesn't mean you're going to get hit by a tornado, but be ready for a threat of a tornado. Because this storm still has a capability of producing a tornado, I would say, for at least another 45 minutes to an hour. Thank you, April, for the $20 super chat. Appreciate the generosity from Knoxville. Hopefully you stayed safe. Again, I'm not sure if we had a tornado there on the north side of Knoxville. We did have a brief tightening. May have at least had a funnel cloud there. But we never had anything. We haven't had anything confirmed by any means. And obviously the National Weather Service will be doing surveys tomorrow on any reported tornado damage that we have. Is Knox tornado threat over? I'd say Knoxville's done. I would say, I say that, but there's still very, very weak rotation on a couple of these little cells. But in my opinion, I think Knoxville, like, there'll be a few more storms, heavy rain here for the next couple of hours. I think the main concern, though, is done. I would be surprised if we actually got a tornado out of this activity. When I say that, though, I mean, there is actually a slight bit of rotation. It's not much, but there's a little bit. But in general, I think Knoxville is done with the severe weather threat. Velocities right now near Beach Springs, Tennessee are measuring near 80-mile-per-hour winds. Right over State Route 66, southeast of Kodak. That is crazy. This is pretty crazy for February, I gotta say. At least early February. It's pretty crazy. Thank you, Lucas. Appreciate that. Thank you, Bob. Super chats. As a reminder, if you are new to the channel, don't forget to hit the red button down below and subscribe. We do live severe weather coverages like this.
A new
all
tornado
the time.
warning has been issued.
All right, we do have a new tornado warning. That's going to be for Newport, Sevierville, back into Midway, Del Rio, Wasp, Allen Grove, Hartford, Cosby, Belmont also included in this. If you are in the pink polygon, seek shelter immediately away from windows. Lowest floor possible. And interior room of your home or building. And the storm is moving east-southeast. Rotation is still looking mean. I mean, it has not tightened yet, but the storm structure itself is very impressive. Definitely has a chance to produce a tornado. And I wouldn't even be surprised if parts of North Carolina had to deal with this threat. It's on track, kind of in the direction of Asheville. I mean, Asheville's not in the direct path, but you're not far from it. We're going to have to watch this very closely as it moves east. For the time being, this risk is really driving now towards the I-40 corridor near Newport. The current tornado warning is going to end, so this new one is taking over this area. Knoxville, you're out of the tornado warning in just a moment. Actually, now you are out of the tornado warning. Tornado warning has now officially expired for Knoxville. And rotation back up near Morristown is broad. We're still watching this activity closely near Bulls Gap, but the risk for a tornado is a bit lower now. And so now we're back to 2 tornado warnings and 1 severe thunderstorm warning. Thank you, Connie, for becoming a member. Welcome to the Velocities. Any confirmed touchdowns? We've already had at least 3 tornadoes. I think all 3 of them have been radar confirmed. We may have had a 4th one on the north side of Knoxville, but it probably was not strong. Probably on the weaker side of things. Thank you, Patrick, for the Venmo. Back to the 3 camera view for now as this storm continues to track east-southeast. These are all in Tennessee right now. All in Tennessee. All right, guys, I'm going to be honest. I got to take a quick 60-second break because I've been drinking a lot of water. I'll be back in just a moment. We'll stay zoomed out. We'll have the 3 camera view on, and we'll be back in just a moment. Stay tuned. All right, we're back. Thank you, Connie, for becoming a member. Welcome to the Velocities. All right, let's get a quick little radar update in across the board. We'll begin with Virginia. Virginia is winding down. Again, a lot of this at this point across Virginia is just rain. Not really any severe weather left unless you're near the Gate City area where there may be some isolated damaging winds still left over. Still some lightning near Churchill, Tennessee. Again, not really expecting any tornado threat to materialize in Churchill, but we may still see an isolated tornado risk as that goes eventually towards Johnson City, right down I-26. Back over near Bulls Gap, the threat of severe weather here is mostly now be driven by wind. The tornado risk is diminishing, at least for the time being. We no longer have a tornado warning on that storm. That one did produce a tornado just moments ago, but is no longer tornado warned as the rotation has died off. Our only tornado warning for now is east of Knoxville. It's back over near Sevierville and going towards I-40. The storm is still incredible when it comes to the amount of wind that we have going both directions. Very strong winds going both away and towards the radar. We still have a circulation here. Nothing has tightened to this point, but I mean, it's still one of those storms that, you know, with its shape and also how strong the winds are, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a tornado with this at some point as it continues to move east, eventually going towards I-40, going towards Newport, Allen Grove, Cosby, Hartford, Midway, and then eventually it's going to be crossing into western North Carolina. And long term, if this still for some reason is still going, even in North Carolina, which would be crazy, it would be going in the direction of Marshall and Asheville, North Carolina. Thank you, Ryan, for becoming a Maximum Velocity member. Thank you, Willeva, also for becoming a member. Welcome to the Velocities. Thank you, Alyssa, for the Venmo as well. Back to the 3 camera view for now. Thank you, Laughs, for the $20 super chat. Appreciate that from Newport. Stay safe. Hopefully it's just a little bit of wind and rain, and that's it. In Newport. I think Middle Tennessee will be fine for tonight. How's the weather for Indiana? Indiana is cold, and there's ice in parts of the state. That's about it. Not expecting any severe weather up there for a little bit. A bit more of a zoomed out view. How's it going, Michael? It's hailing here in Churchill right now. I think overall the hailstone size is going to stay pretty small. That storm in particular is warned for less than 3/4 of an inch sized hail, which is pretty tiny. That's like cheese curd sized hail. Very small type of hail. So yeah, we're not really expecting anything significant when it comes to hail. But if there's any large hail, like the highest size, I would say is going to be like $50. Even the tornado warning cell is at currently quarter sized hail. Hey, Doug, for the $10 super chat. Appreciate that. Haven't had any damage reports quite yet out of Knoxville. The only damage reports that we've had so far tonight were back over near Cookeville, Tennessee. But for the time being, this is a storm that already produced now at least 2 different tornadoes, maybe a third one in Knoxville. This has been a long track supercell, started right around 4 to 5 o'clock this afternoon. Was not really tornadic until about 7 or so, and has been a tornadic supercell for about 3 hours now. The current population in this tornado warning is about 90,000. Again, Dandridge, Tennessee, Newport, Tennessee, No, Tennessee, Hartford, and Sevierville are all included in this. If you know any friends or family in that area, feel free to share the stream with them. And we'll keep you posted with the latest on this storm as it continues to track east-southeast. Let's just hope that, you know, this storm going over the mountains and whatnot kind of weakens it a little bit. It's going to a much more treacherous terrain. I mean, the winds are just insane still. I mean, even if this doesn't produce a tornado, we're still talking about a significant wind threat going through Bird Crossroad and Maple Springs and eventually approaching I-40 in about 15 minutes or so. But we'll be live here as long as needed. So as long as this is still concerning or another storm is concerning, we'll be here. And the rotation is actually starting to ramp up a little bit again, back up near Bowles Gap. A little bit of rotation again. That's going towards Mossheim and eventually towards Tusculum. And they have just issued a new severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible label for Bluntville, just north of Johnson City. So if you're in this area, stay away from windows. Damaging wind threat is increasing, and tornado threat cannot be ruled out as that continues to move east-southeast. Thank you, Aaron, for the $5 super chat. Appreciate the generosity. Thank you, Aaron, also for becoming a member in purple for the 15 months. We are now only 100 subscribers away from 935,000. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to hit the red button down below and subscribe. We are about 65,000 subscribers from 1 million. I don't know when we're going to hit 1 million, but that's going to be literally insane whenever that happens. I'm in Sevierville, not much activity. Looks like that rotation just stayed to the north, and the wind also just stayed to your north. You were not far from it, though. We're really up in this area. I'm not seeing the rotation, in my opinion. It's broadening out quite a bit. It could recycle again, but this storm, again, is just... really, for whatever reason, it just has not had a whole lot of success here producing a tornado. Despite it being very discreet, we have a pretty good amount of wind shear as well in this area. Instability is still there. I mean, again, the ingredients in general are still here for there to be a tornado. Let me see if I can pull up the tornado parameter map here. Here's just a general idea of the tornado threat for really the next, like, couple of hours. So this right here is right about now. So again, these are the tornado parameter values. Basically gives you an idea of where the most significant tornado threat may exist. And really right now, it's obviously in southeast Tennessee. Notice how the values really drop here over the next hour or two. Sorry, I'm actually going to zoom out to the southeast just so you can see it better. But you can see how the values really drop off quite a bit here just after 10 to 11 o'clock tonight. And it really dies off overnight. So again, this tornado threat at most going to last another hour or two, and then we're pretty much done with the tornado risk, and it'll be mostly a wind risk from there. if there's anything left over. What's up, Freddy? Thank you, Copper, for the 9 months. Or, sorry, Cooper for the 9 months. Thank you, VR, for the $5 super chat. Thank you, Regina, for becoming a member. Thank you, Crazy, for the $10 super chat. Appreciate the generosity. Thank you, Sierra. Appreciate that. Next week is going to be busy when it comes to winter storms. We're probably going to have several next week. I don't know if you guys have already seen it. It looks like it's going to be a crazy weather pattern, though. That's what it looks like over the next few days. We got a winter storm Saturday into Sunday. Ohio Valley, Midwest, Northeast. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday from the Central Plains back into the Mid-Atlantic and again the Northeast. Probably going to have a nor'easter late Tuesday into Wednesday. Thursday into Friday, maybe some sort of winter weather event, maybe another winter storm across the Central Plains and then back again into the Northeast by Saturday. And then probably another large storm, I would say, sometime late next weekend, if not into the early following week, as a band of atmospheric river moisture will likely come over the Rocky Mountains. But we don't know where that's going to really happen yet. But confidence is growing that we're going to have a very busy next 10 days when it comes to snow and even severe weather in the Southeast. I think that's going to be a continuing threat in the Southeast. Do I live stream winter storms? We do. We've actually live streamed, I think, 2, maybe 3 different winter storms this winter now. If I'm not mistaken, I think we've live streamed 3 different winter storms this winter so far. We might have another one, you never know. Thank you, Patty, for becoming a member. Welcome to the Velocities. Thank you, Lily, for the $10 super chat. Appreciate that.
A new tornado warning has been issued.
We do have now a second tornado warning, a new one for Bluntsville, Buffalo, Piney Flats, Elizabethton, and Big Spring Hampton in northeast Tennessee. So if you are in this pink polygon, seek shelter immediately away from windows, lowest floor possible, and get into an interior room of your home or building. Rotation here is, in my opinion, still relatively broad, but we are a bit further away from the radar site. Just make sure you're in your safe place if you're in this warning. Damaging winds definitely a big concern, though, on this storm.
A new tornado warning has been issued.
And there is no new tornado warning. It was just because it got upgraded for hail. Still have 2 tornado warnings. Thank you, Heather, for the $20 super chat. Appreciate the generosity. How do I become a member? It's the link that's pinned in the chat, or it is the join button, or the top link in the description below. This tornado warning back over near Newport. Still a significant wind threat right now near Bird Crossroad, around 60 to 70 mile per hour winds being estimated via radar. But rotation has definitely died down on this storm. Not nearly as concerning when it comes to the rotation aspect of that cell. And then the Kingsport one is, in my opinion, still broad, but we are a little bit further away from the radar site on that one. But we'll stay on the zoomed out look. We'll go back to 3 cam view. If you have any questions, feel free to leave those in the chat. I'll be looking at chat here over the next few minutes. Finally, an actual proper winter pattern. I've been missing this type of pattern for the past 3 to 4 winters. Yeah, if you're in New England, it's been like, I feel like every year's been a snow drought other than like a few select years. Like there's been very little times where we've actually had normal snowfall or even above average snowfall in the Northeast, including New England. So if you're looking for snow, I would not be surprised if most of New England has between 2 to 3 feet of snow over the next 2 weeks. Thank you, April, for becoming a member. Welcome to the Velocities. Thank you to anybody that's become a member today. We have 35 new members. Appreciate you guys all becoming members. Helps us be able to have all these live coverages, upgrade the studio, and all that sort of jazz. Thank you, Neva, as well, for becoming a member. Will I be live for the winter storms next week? We'll see. It depends on the factors of it. I mean, I don't really want to go live for a winter storm if there's not really a whole lot happening. Like, there needs to be at least snow that's like heavy and potentially like significant impacts to people. And really, more than anything, if there's a attached severe weather risk with that, that's a bit more elevated, like if we have a enhanced or a moderate risk for severe weather, we're definitely gonna be live for stuff like that. How's it going, Corey? Welcome back. Hope your little break from chasing's been going well. Thank you, for the $5 super chat. Max next high fade haircut fund. Thanks, appreciate that. Haircuts have gotten crazy expensive, I gotta say. They are actually crazy how expensive they've gotten. Also, thank you, Lisa, for the $10 super chat. Appreciate that. This channel is the best. Appreciate that comment. Thank you, Noah's, for the $100 super chat. Somebody was in the chat for, I don't know if it's Joe or no, but I appreciate the super chat. My folks live in this region, so I was able to give them a heads up. Can't wait till he hit that 1 million. I appreciate that. We're only 65,000 subscribers away from 1 million subscribers. It's closer than ever. Feels crazy. If I did the math right, if we gain like 1,000 subscribers a day or even 2,000 a day, I mean, we'll be there by March, which is insane. Little update on the radar right now. This is the storm back up near Bluntville that is currently has some broad rotation near Interstate 81. Again, this is a tornado warning. Includes Elizabethton as well. Big Spring just north of Johnson City. Continue to stay in your safe place if you're in that area. Bulls Gap also still have mostly a wind threat here. Rotation's been dying out on that storm. That was initially tornado warned, and it actually did at one point produce a tornado. And then the one back over near Newport. At this point, this has mostly become a wind threat. It's about to move over some mountains, it looks like, as well. Radar coverage is beginning to get a little bit more sparse as we eventually approach the North Carolina and Tennessee border. I pay $45 plus tip for a haircut and beard. Is that a good price, or am I getting ripped off? I don't really know. I don't do... I mean, like, the extra beard thing is... I'm pretty sure it adds more to it, so... I just know for like a normal haircut after tip, it's like $30. So, not just for a normal one. And for me, I got a bald head basically for my haircut. It was not intentional. Person cutting my hair went way too far. When I say way too far, I literally mean way too far. Thank you, Christian, for becoming a member. Welcome to the Velocities. All right, latest radar scan has just come in. You are just tuning in. We have 2 tornado warnings in eastern Tennessee. We have a severe thunderstorm warning as well, right smack dab in the middle of those 2 tornado warnings. Thank you, Pamala, for the $10 super chat, and Marielle for the $10 super chat. Ever seen the movie Full Metal Jacket? I have not. I don't usually watch that many movies. Hey, Riker, for the $10 super chat. I'm sitting with my brother right now. He seems to not understand what CAPE is. You give him a little talk about how it affects the weather. It's just like the basics of it. Yeah, so basically, CAPE is instability. It's what makes the atmosphere unstable. When we have an unstable atmosphere, that is when convection can bubble up, and that's when we lead that's what basically ends up leading to some like severe storms, for example, and that's what we're seeing here today. And you don't need a whole lot of instability for there to be severe weather, but you really need some key stuff to happen. Like, you need the temperature and dew point to be relatively close together, and you also need the temperature and dew point to be high enough. You usually need at least a dew point and temperature of around 55 degrees Fahrenheit for that to actually happen. So yeah, in general, that's like the basics of it. Back over near Knoxville right now, we do have a little area of rotation just east of Knoxville that has just been developing over the last like couple of minutes. I wouldn't say it's much, but a little bit of rotation there. But Cape, the easiest way to think about Cape or instability is it's basically what fuels severe storms. It's like putting gasoline into a car. It's pretty much the same thing. Thank you, Eric, for the super chat. Knoxville has more storms. Yeah, Knoxville, I mean, I mentioned it before, or right around when the tornado warning was ending. There are still going to be some storms in the area. Didn't really expect much of a severe risk to continue here, but we actually do have, it looks like, a little bit of rotation there. A little bit of rotation near Knoxville. Just going to stay zoomed out here. We'll go back to 3 cams. When you hit 1 million, dye your hair polygon pink. I think I'll pass, but thank you. You know, one thing I did get for 1 million subscribers, got some like gold confetti cannons. Hopefully whenever we hit 1 million subscribers, I'm actually like, you know, I at least have those on me, because otherwise that'll be kind of sad. Thank you, Riker, for the super chat. Yeah, that's, I mean, that's the actual meaning of cape. I usually just call it instability because otherwise people will just get confused if I just say the word cape. Otherwise I have to say convective, available potential energy, and it's just a long phrase that people are going to be even more confused about. Just easier for me to say instability and lessen the confusion. Just east of Knoxville, that area of alleged rotation is not really lined up with that hook that we have back over near I-40, but seems like it is spinning here. This has been developing over the last several minutes. I mean, approaching Midway and Kodak in Alder Branch. Something to watch for. The rotation on the storm south of Newport has been weakening. I wouldn't be surprised if they continue this tornado warning, but in my opinion, it's mostly a wind threat at this point. Appears as if it's a bit more outflow dominant. The storm back over near Johnson City, I don't see anything here. I would stay in your safe place just in case, but I'm not seeing anything that looks overly concerning. They have just issued a new severe thunderstorm warning, which is going to be an extension to this warning into North Carolina for 60-mile-per-hour damaging winds and a tornado possible label for Madison, Haywood, Yancey, and Buncombe counties, which includes Asheville, North Carolina. Again, damaging winds is the main concern, but an isolated tornado cannot be ruled out. Thank you, Armando, for the super chat. Thank you, LK, for the super chat. Thank you, Off, for the $5 super chat. Appreciate the generosity. Thank you, Om, also for the super chat. Thank you, Marissa, for the 8 months. Yeah, Western North Carolina, I mean, they really can't catch a break ever since Hurricane Helene. It's unbelievable. I mean, like, the impact that Hurricane Helene made to the entire region of Western North Carolina is just, it's unbelievable. It's a very long-term impact. It's not going to just be one of those things that, you know, is cleaned up within a few months like what we've seen. It has not been cleaned up at all in just a few months. It's going to be an ongoing issue probably for years. the impacts will continue to be felt. And yeah, unfortunately, that was one of the worst hurricanes I feel like we've ever had in the mountainous region of the Carolinas. Hey, Armando, for becoming a member. With 1 million subscribers, you can get a lightning bolt with haircut on the sides. That would be kind of creative. I'm not gonna lie. Hey, Riker, for the $10 super chat for cheese curd. I appreciate that. Thanks for watching the videos and live streams. This was definitely a surprise, I think, to many of you that are watching that were even live today. I did not expect to be live at all today. I did know that there was a risk of severe weather, but, like, you know, I don't think any of us realized that we may even see a live stream today. I did not think we were going to have, like, a little small outbreak out here in eastern Tennessee and western North Carolina. Hey, Gremlin, for becoming a member. Welcome to the Velocities. How fast are the winds? Most of these storms are producing damaging winds between 50 to 75 miles per hour. The one near Newport has been the most significant. At times, it's been as high as 80 miles per hour. But at this point, it's probably down to 60, and that's approaching I-40. It's approaching Finney Patch, Ravan Branch, Tomtown, and really traveling right along I-40. The threat here for damaging winds will continue. There's also a hail core right over I-40. But that supercell has been losing its structure quite a bit. I'm not seeing nearly as much of a threat at this point for a tornado. The one storm that has caught my eye again is the one east of Knoxville. It has been coming together a little bit here. Got a little hook gecko, got a little inflow notch. It's going right through the same area that we just had this tornado warning. So I wouldn't be surprised if that tried to do something. For Cocke County, Tennessee, this warning has now been condensed. It's a little bit smaller. Now it only includes Del Rio, Midway, Allen Grove, Hartford, and Wasp. If you are in Newport, Tennessee, you are clear from this particular tornado warning for now. The storm train that is formed back to your west has a couple of different things that it'll be doing. It'll possibly produce maybe another isolated damaging wind or tornado risk out of the storm near I-40. Or it even could produce a flash flooding risk with how it's training right now. We got a west-east train. Flash flooding is definitely going to become a concern, I think, out here in eastern Tennessee. Hey, Sarah, for the $5 super chat. Yeah, I can only imagine. I can only imagine. I've not personally seen it in real life. I've obviously seen a lot of photos about what happened there in western North Carolina, but yeah, it's pretty terrible. I am a little surprised that we still have a tornado warning here for the Johnson City area. Station's pretty weak up here. Warning goes for 30 more minutes. If I had to take a guess, it'll probably end up getting canceled at some point here pretty soon. The severe thunderstorm warning for the Tusculum area is also becoming it's becoming weaker. It's really more of a wind threat at this point. Even then, it's just gusty winds and lightning and heavy rain. The only storms that I'm really concerned about right now are these ones that are all kind of training here from Knoxville back into western North Carolina. Obviously, we have the tornadic supercell, but we also have a lot of rain that's going to be falling in this area over a short amount of time. A little training effect happening here. So flash flooding concerns are definitely growing. In addition to that, the storm activity back over near Sevierville and east of Knoxville, tornado threat may start to increase a little bit again. So we're going to have to watch that closely. Here's a live shot over in the Pinnacle Tower in Irwin, Tennessee. It is pretty much pitch black out there, but the camera's actually shaking a little bit, a little windy. This is just off to the east of that severe thunderstorm warning. Thank you, Katia, for becoming a member. Thank you, Mark, for the $20 super chat. Thank you, Off for the super chat. Thank you, Boo, for the $5 super chat. From Bean Station, we are safe. Was crazy for a second. Weird for February. Yeah, this is definitely not something you see very often in February. I appreciate that. Thank you for the $5 super chat. The low taper fade. Hey, Mad Pack. Appreciate that. Our power just blinked on and off in Elizabethton. Don't be surprised if you have a few power flashes or maybe even a power outage tonight. I'm not sure what... Let me look and see what the power outages are looking like right now. It's always a good reminder, if you are in Tennessee or even Western North Carolina, make sure that you have flashlights on hand in case you lose power. There are very limited power outages, like Morgan, for example. We have about 1,000 customers without power. Overton's at about 650. Putnam is at about 900 or so. Granger, which is where we actually had a tornado a little while ago, that has about almost 500 customers without power. About 220 in Claiborne County there. Otherwise, I mean, it's a very small number. 5,000 out of over 3 million. But granted, this is a little bit more of some rural areas out here as well that are being impacted. Again, all that according to poweroutage.us. The storm near Kodak and Midway is attempting to come together again. And this is a brand new cell that is intensifying a little bit. I don't really foresee this being much of a tornado risk, but I mean, as time is kind of the essence right now. The threat of tornadoes in general is going to be dying out over here over the next hour or two. But we are still expecting at least an isolated tornado risk through about 10 o'clock tonight, maybe even 11, or sorry, I keep going Central Time, through about 11 or 12 o'clock tonight. So the next hour or two, and then it's going to be mostly just some showers and storms out there. Severe weather threat again goes through about midnight tonight. The severe thunderstorm watch that is currently in effect in eastern Tennessee, again, ends at midnight. I wouldn't be surprised if they do extend this watch out a few counties into North Carolina to address this supercell. And even the ones that are back over in northeastern Tennessee, which, by the way, the tornado warning near Johnson City has now been canceled. So we're back down to one tornado warning. And then after that, I would say the only other concern that we have tornado-wise is maybe that cell there east of Knoxville. Thank you, Darren, for the super chat. I'll check out where Mount Airy is. I just went to Mount Airy, Maryland. Tornado live streams again. We are so back. I'm telling you, this was a very unexpected live stream. I was actually taking a shower when that first tornado warning got issued. Did not really expect that would be going live. Mount Airy is probably not going to see much. Mostly just rain, very low wind risk. Thank you. Thank you, C. Appreciate that for cheese curd. Circulation is increasing in West Virginia. Excuse me. Not really much over here in West Virginia. Mostly just wind, and even then it's just gusty winds. The environment up here into West Virginia, there's really not much wind shear. Even Kentucky was a bit of a stretch a couple hours ago when it came to the tornado threat because there wasn't really a whole lot of wind shear. The dew points were really on the cusp there, being in the the mid 50s there. So the environment actually in general was very favorable in Tennessee. It was a lot less favorable up here, even though we had some areas of rotation. So very interesting setup today. Surprised we had as many tornadoes as we had. I mean, we've had, I would have to say we had about 3 or 4 tornadoes out of this event, maybe even a bit more than that. Crazy stuff. Thank you, Cat, for the super chat. Where in Granger was the tornado? I don't think Granger had a tornado. The only tornadoes that we've had, that at least that we've had confirmed via radar. I mean, there might be a few that are confirmed tomorrow in surveys. We had one near Beech Grove, near the new Tazewell area, just west of Bean Station. We had one back over. We think we had one back over near Dodson Branch. We had multiple damage reports, but perhaps a brief tornado near Dodson Branch. And then we also had a more significant tornado near Deer Lodge, which is to the northwest of Oak Ridge, Tennessee. And we may have had a brief tornado on the north side of Knoxville. And then we may have had a tornado really anywhere in this area out of this supercell. I haven't seen anything via radar that would confirm that, but we may have had another tornado somewhere. But those are the only ones that I can really confirm. We've at least had 3, but we may have had 1 or 2 more that just happened like in between radar scans or something like that. Thank you, Emma Bio, for the super chat. Thank you, Ida, also for the super chat. The low-level jet's a bit more important for today's setup, but I'll show you the general jet stream pattern as well for today. The low-level jet was cranking both yesterday night and as well as this morning, but this is the jet stream. I mean, it's not really... We don't have like any sort of digging trough or anything like that. This is a very zonal jet stream. Very small dips in 2 different areas here in the United States. 2 very small little dips in the upper levels, but the low-level jet is really what cranked today back over in both Tennessee and Kentucky, and it was mostly tonight. It was cranking a lot more. Very strong, by the way, back over in the Midwest and the Northeast. But yeah, the low-level jet around 40 to 50 knots definitely helps. If we go to the Ohio Valley, the tornado parameters here, I'll show you an example sounding of today's setup. This is pretty much the hodograph that we had back, or the sounding that we had back over on the cell. That's been ongoing for a few hours, the one that went through Knoxville. Temperature and dew point, again, pretty perfect. Low 60s. It's not, you know, there's not a surplus really of moisture, but enough buoyancy for there to be some severe weather. Curved hodographs, good amount of veering here as we go up into the atmosphere. Plenty of wind shear. Equilibrium levels relatively low, which means these supercells were not towering up super tall, but tall enough. And then the hodograph's also curved, which means that we have spin throughout the atmosphere. Instability values around 500 to 600. It's not a whole lot, honestly, but it's enough for a wintertime severe weather event. So, yeah. Thank you, Pam, for the 3-month membership. Thank you, Marissa, and as well as Lily for the super chats. I'll get my cat here in a second. Wait for another radar scan or 2. I'll get her. Thank you, Cody, for the super chat. Temp and dew point is 55/51 in North Carolina, tornado risk. In that environment, it's not really going to exist. Dew point of 51 is terrible. It's not terrible, but it's really not that good for a tornado risk. So, yeah, I mean, that's just not really sufficient. I don't know where you are in North Carolina, but with a 51-degree dew point, as long as it stays around 51, you're really not going to see any tornado risk. It's very hard to see a tornado with a dew point near 51. It's not impossible, but it's very difficult. You usually at least need a dew point of 54 or 55, and even then, you risk the threat of the storms being elevated, which means that they're higher off the ground, which essentially means that a tornado dropping to the ground is a lot harder. It's harder to get a lowering, like a wall cloud, and then have a tornado actually form. And a lot of the time in the spring, like early spring, like March and April, in Kansas, for example, we have a lot of busts that happen when it comes to the dew points because they're just not high enough in those areas sometimes. We don't get enough of a moisture pull out of the Gulf. So. Hey, David, for the $5 super chat. I just drove through Beach Springs west towards Knoxville. That was a very hairy, strong rain and gusty winds. Definitely have that eerie feeling. I mean, yeah, especially at nighttime. It doesn't help that this is all happening literally at like 10 o'clock. It's like pitch black out there. You know, I for the record, I think many of you probably knew this, but I drove during Hurricane Milton. I evacuated for where I was in Florida when that happened. After our live stream went out because of the power going out. I drove through the rain and the wind, and if there was anybody on the roadways, it would have been so different. But there was literally no cars on the road at all. Like, it was insane. It was amazing. Like, there was nobody out on the road. It was just me, and literally it was pretty incredible. Like, the wind was crazy. It was very hard to drive in, but with there being no cars, it made it actually a lot easier. Thank you, Trevor, for the super chat. I appreciate that. The haircut, again, I don't know why so many people are commenting the haircut. It was not meant to be like this. Anything west of Knoxville tonight? Not really expecting much other than just the rain that's training here. Again, a flash flooding risk is increasing, especially back near Newport and Sevierville. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a couple of areas that have some flooding. Hopefully this winds down very quickly. The rotation, by the way, east of Knoxville has been dying out. The tornado warning over here, right along the Tennessee and North Carolina border, is also weakening. Thank you, Karen, also for gifting a membership. Thank you, by the way, for 40 new members today. I appreciate everybody becoming a member if you have. Helps the channel out a lot. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to hit the red button down below and subscribe to the channel. You'll help us get one step closer to one step closer to 1 million subscribers. We are now a little under 65,000 subscribers away from 1 million. I think at the rate that we're going, we could get there in March. So that'll be pretty cool. My plan right now, I don't know if we're doing a live stream whenever we get to 1 million, like on this channel, or we'll do one just for members or something. But whenever we get close to it, I'll probably do like a little countdown stream. It'll probably just be for members of the channel, but we'll see. If there's literally no weather happening, I might do it public. But I don't really like doing non-weather related public stuff. Thank you, Catherine, for becoming a member. Welcome to the Velocities. But if we do a stream, don't worry. We got the confetti cannons. I literally have 5. These are huge. I don't know how this is gonna go. We got like these crazy confetti cannons. I don't know how it's gonna go. I don't even know how you use them. I think that'll be pretty fun. All right, let me find Cheese Curd real quick. I know a lot of you guys want to see her. Hey. We rescued Cheese Curd. She's my lap. You can't really see her. Get some Cheese Curd emojis in the chat if you're a member. Forgot we had that. Hey. And she's now on my keyboard. Thank you, Little Light, for the $10 super chat. Have you seen any more crazy storms developed in America outside of America? What do you mean? I don't know what you mean by that. Thank you, David, for the super chat. Hey, no problem at all. Appreciate you tuning in. How old is Cheese Curd? She is 6. Just adopted her about a month ago. My parents are in Marion Dew, is 54. Even if the dew point's 54, I mean, in my opinion, I think the tornado risk for the rest of tonight is diminishing. At this point, the last tornado warning that we had has now ended. So I think the tornado risk in general is coming to a close. But again, there's still a chance for an isolated tornado. Just have multiple ways to receive alerts. Have a tornado action plan in place just in case we end up seeing another tornado warning tonight. But I think in general, the tornado risk, again, is very low. Thank you, Lisa, for becoming a member. Welcome to the Velocities. And as a reminder, if you are new to the channel, don't forget to hit the red button down below. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Like the stream if you've not already. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Facebook at MaxVelocityWX. Join our Discord server as well. The link to that is all in the description below. Again, we are getting awfully close to 1 million subscribers, so I would appreciate if you are new to the channel to subscribe. We do live severe weather coverage, winter storm coverage, videos all the time for weather across the United States. So it'd be awesome if you guys could subscribe if you've not already. And yeah, I think that's going to do it for tonight's stream. Obviously, this is a bit of a surprise stream today. We are going to raid Storm Intermedia, so stay tuned. Go ahead and give Storm Intermedia a raid. But at this point, just make sure you have ways to receive alerts. I honestly think the tornado risk is diminishing. Might see one more brief tornado, but I think the risk overall is pretty much near a close as the instability and shear is coming to a end here. It's very low at this point. Not much is left in terms of the environment. But yeah. Also, thank you, Lisa, for becoming a member, and Vanessa. Appreciate you guys. Thank you to anybody that became a member today. We had over 45 new members. Appreciate you guys becoming members of the channel. If you want to become a member, it's the join button down below or the top link in the description below. And yeah, we'll have a video tomorrow morning talking about the winter storm threat coming up this weekend and next week. A ton of snow is coming over the next couple of weeks, so it's going to get pretty crazy. Stay tuned to the channel. We'll keep you posted with the latest on the winter storms. And we'll see you guys all again in the next video, which will be tomorrow morning. Our next live stream could be as early as next week. We'll have to wait and see. All right. Stay tuned. We're going to raid Storm Intermedia. Just put Max Raid in the chat. And we'll see you guys all again in the next one. Bye-bye.